Big up, welcome in. Happy Thursday to Pop Up with Jacob, a show I like to do. I try to do it weekly, but it ain't happened yet. The link to call in is in the chat. It is pinned to the top. A lot to talk about. Figured, why not hear from you? What do you think about the North London Derby? And who the hell is Scott Munn and company? I don't really know. I mean, I kind of know. Like, you can tell me what their titles are. That's cool. But anybody who's savvy in the sense of they know the goings-ons at the stadiums, call in. Let me know how. Let me know what the hell's going on with this club. I don't know if it's good news or bad news, the news that I'm hearing. So that's why, that's what prompted me to do a call-in show rather than do my own episode. Because if I don't know, maybe there's someone out there who's listening who does know. But regardless, I have two guests already in the back that are popping up with Jacob tonight. And again, good morning to those of you in Australia. So you could be popping up in the morning. Good afternoon to those of you in the USA. And good afternoon to those of you, or good afternoon, good evening, late night for those of y'all in the UK. Hope you're hitting those likes. On your way in, it's like free beer. I say just go ahead and grab it. What you got to lose, it's free. Helps me, helps you, helps we. And then partake in that poll. Let me know what you think. 32%. Oh, 30% says much needed turnover as far as the thoughts on Scott Munn's first day. Is he clearing out the dead garage? Like the dusty old garage with all the dead toys and broken things that never got fixed? I don't know. So somebody tell me. Maybe one of the next guys can tell me, or maybe both of them can tell me. So let me go ahead and bring them into the show. Before I do that, let me say big up to Moondog. Get the first place prize today. Big up, buddy. Thank you for hitting that like. First place goes to you. Let me go ahead and welcome them both. And since I am a Southern gentleman, let me go ahead and welcome in Mia first. How are we doing, Mia?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It's strange for me to be up this late, so yeah.
Oh, what a treat for us, because honestly, you always tune in to these shows in the morning. We've got you on the late night call in, so glad you're here.
Yeah, nice.
Real quick before I bring in the next guest, what's going on? What do you think is going on? Is this good or bad? Just preliminarily.
I don't think we'll be able to know if it's good or bad, because it's about if we're going to continue what Gabonini sort of started and what's going to happen with Paratici now too. So I think things are just a little bit unclear at the moment, and I think hopefully we'll find out in the near future what's actually going on. I think that's probably the best thing I could say, is that we need to know what's going on, because I feel it's a bit of the unknown at the moment, because we don't know if they're going to continue the plan, who Scott Munn's going to get in as DOF. We know Andrew's typically actually not worked with a DOF. So, yeah, it's all a bit strange, to be honest with you.
I wonder if this guy had a lot to do with the business that we did, like James Madison, Mickey Van de Veen. These are question marks that I have now. So I think eventually we'll find out. Everything comes out in the wash, right? That's what they say. Yeah, so maybe we'll see what's really going on. But let me go ahead and bring in the next guest. Got in the back. A man like Adrian Schroka. How are we doing?
I'm fine, thank you, Jacob. Thank you for inviting him on. Yeah, I agree with Mia. We can only surmise. When these things come up, you either get a negative or positive response from the fan base, don't you? You either get like, oh, the guy's been sacked. Well, Gabardini, we're like, that's a Matt Law that actually said it, and the others cop onto that link and they go like, oh yeah, he's been sacked as well. We don't really know what's gone on. I don't think as head coach he's actually been sacked, because if you're head coach, you can stay at head coach. I mean, the rumours were that Italian clubs were in for him, and obviously, and we know it's Scott Munn. Let's be fair, we're not mug Spurs fans, because we've been through all deals with this club over the last few managers, and we know that Scott Munn has probably been privately working behind the scenes, and he will have drawn up a list of people to interview as DOF if he hasn't got one in mind already. And Gabardini,
because I have seen things that were saying that we were already in the latter stage, not beyond the preliminary stages of interviewing a new DOF. Because if that's the case, then this has been going on long before, like you said, before Scott Munn's official first day or whatever.
Yeah, we can only surmise it, and speculate though, can't we? Because we don't know. We haven't actually got any tangible facts. But if you're head coach If you're head scout, you're not going to get sacked, right, for being head scout. If you're head scout and you've got ambitions like to go to an Italian club and be DOF, and you want to be DOF at Spurs, then obviously like you could have had a word with Scott Munn. It could be like, oh, okay, I would like to apply for the job, and they say, well, look, mate, I've got a few people in mind, and sorry, you're not one of them, and then you might have resigned. But if you were to sack him, that would be constructive dismissal anyway. What do you think, Mia?
Yeah, they'd have to have a reason to sack him. That's why I was quite shocked by the word sacked, because Ali Gold came out and said he'd left, and I think it was Fabrizio Romano said departed. So there was nobody else who actually used the word sacked, because to sack somebody you have to have a reason to do it. Otherwise, it is they can't just do that because you're breaching the contract. So that's what I was quite surprised by, the word sacked. I wonder if they just mutually agreed for him to leave. That could have been it, because I just can't see them sacking him without a reason, to be honest.
Big up David Cooper, member of the 10-inch club, says, good morning, Jacob in chat room. Let's get rocking. Come on, you Spurs. Coop dog, how you doing? Big up everybody in the chat. Chris Peters, Rich, I see Zalpour in the chat. Jim, just a guy who loves Spurs, in the house as well. Craig the Gecko, man. Callum Roche honestly hit me with some truth. Maybe you need to do the polls for the channel here, Callum. Hit me up. You want to do the polls, because that is a great option. You could tell by the last option I really didn't know what to put, but I wanted to put something, and 19% of people have voted for it. So it clearly represents at least some sort of faction, but this is a great, I should have done this personally. Big up Callum Roche, big up Ravi in the house. Peter Aga says, big up Jacob. Kaylee's in the house. Let's bring home with 3 points on Sunday. That's what I'm hoping for. Your father-in-law is dope with the beats. Big up Zapur. Rowan Kumar in the house. Update us on Munn's decisions and I'll post my vote. This is the thing. Does anyone know who made these decisions? Because from my standpoint, who gets the credit for Mickey Van de Veen? Who gets the credit for James Madison sending Winks the other way for another 10? Who gets the credit for some of this business in the last few summers? Is it?
Well, most of the good stuff, believe it or not, Paratici has a lot to take credit for. I mean, for about 8 of our players that were in there, we still don't know if they're going to all hit their straps. I mean, we know he was looking at Brennan Johnson. He had nothing to do with Mickey Van de Ven. That was definitely like Ange wanted him at Celtic. But, you look at Romero, you look at Bentancur, you look at Kulusevski, not Solomon, obviously. Udogi, Sarr. I think there's about 8. I can't remember them all offhand. I'm sure Mia might be able to add 1 or 2 more. I don't know. So he's done well, because normally it's accepted that if you get your recruitment right and you get it about 50 right, 50% wrong, then it's okay. But his strike rate's about 68, 70%. So he's done exceptionally well, and apparently he's working as a consultant in the background. And I'm not against that, because our recruitment's improved, and if it keeps when we want it to keep improving, so we'll see how it goes. Mia, what do you think on Paratici and that?
Yeah, I would probably say it was like a combination. I reckon that Ange got involved as well with these recruitment. I think that he probably gave names and they went looking for them. So I do think it's like a combined effort. And I think the fact that Scott Munn's come in, he's officially started today, and Gabbanini's left, to me, that sounds like a Scott Munn decision, because we could have done it before then, but we didn't. So it kind of sounds like that to me, in my personal opinion.
It sounds to me like Scott Munn's laid out his plans to Gabbanini, who's done a decent job, and Gabbanini's thought, well, okay, I'm not going to become DOF, if that was his ambition, or unless there was something else involved, and he's gone, well, okay, I'll go. I don't believe it. Look, if I'd bet my ass on it, he hasn't been sacked. He's gone because maybe he wanted the DOF job. I could be wrong, though. I mean, I can only surmise as well. I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's the thing. None of us know the facts. So I think the whole, oh, he's been sacked thing, it seemed to come out of one person where everyone else seems to have said something different. So it's a bit kind of confusing with the situation, right? Because we don't really know either way, because there's no confirmation that he was actually sacked opposed to actually just leaving. Because, like I say, to get sacked, you have to have a reason. You can't just sack someone. It's in you've got contracts.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, big up to Hotspur Hip. He says Ainge gets the credit. I kind of like that. I mean, when you look at some of the interviews for the players, James Madison accredited the reason what made him keep thinking about Spurs was what Ainge said to him on the phone, which was whether you join us or not, you're going to see a different Tottenham Hotspur, and that stuck with him. So I would, at least give him credit for that one. And then Paul also says you get the credit for Van de Ven.
Matt Law. He's not exactly a Spurs lover. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know the guy. I only know what I see on the Twitter or the X. Big up Ren. It is all happening this morning for sure.
They all want a headline, don't they, to provoke debate and get us at each other's throats, and usually it's divisive, and they want the Spurs fans to be at each other's throats. You know what I mean? So, and I don't
before the biggest match of our season so far. Yeah.
It just so happens that Matt Law isn't a big fan of Tottenham, and then he puts that headline that he got sacked. Because if we all just saw what Fabrizio Romano had said and what Ali Gold had said, I think that people would have maybe reacted maybe a little bit different.
Well,
they didn't say sacked, right? So
here's something that I'm worried about, because here in America, what the media and the government like to do is say, hey, look at this Titanic submersible that was trying to go look at while they do some other shit and pass some laws, so that way everyone's attention is on this little can that's in the bottom of the ocean crunched up. And it's like, what? That's what I'm worried about, is that it's like, look, the North London Derby's coming up, all this is going on, and then boom, behind the scenes, now you're seeing some shifting of parts that I don't know if they're crucial or not. I don't know if we just got rid of the people who helped bring in and help scout some of our prospects that we were looking to bring in this summer. The guys who work, I mean, the reports that I've seen said Gabbanini worked closely with Ange Postecoglou. So with that, if them two working together got Mickey Van de Ven, James Madison, etc., and then some of these younger
Scolding
kids
as well.
Who?
Scolding as well with Gabbanini, and you've got Jadon Melinek, who was the guy that was with Aston Villa, wasn't he? And he was the captain of the Socceroos that knows Ange as well. But he tends to sit back up with the analysts behind Ange. When Ange is down there sitting on the bench, he's back with them, and they're all sitting there with their laptops doing all the analytics and all that on players, you know what I mean? So, and passing messages around. And he was also involved in, I think, recruitment at Villa, loan deals and all that, but I'm not sure he's got that role at Spurs. I'm not actually sure what some of these specific roles are there. I mean, even Scott Munn, DOF, not DOF, sorry, he's a chief football officer, isn't he? So basically, he's supposed to be the chief. In normal companies, he'd be the chief executive, right? Because Levy's supposed to step back, which is, to me, is a bit, you're setting back, but you're still the one who has to sign the checks off. At the end of the year, no matter how much Spurs earn in revenue, Levy's the one who turns around and says to Scott Munn, X amount, you've got X amount to get players in, and that's it. So he doesn't say a complete backseat, because, he's got shares in ENIC, hasn't he,
I mean, it's interesting. And then also this coming on the back of the comments that he had at the fan forum. I just worry. Is all because the optics of it seems kind of funny. Like, why are we several weeks into a season? I mean, is this just normal business? Is this how things happen? You just be sacking because if we're doing it after a window in which hopefully they didn't have a large say in it, because if they're no longer here and we were going by or we were basing our decisions with their judgment in mind, you know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of message does that really send? I don't know. Again, I feel like all this is just over my head, so that's why I didn't really even want to talk about it. I just want to see what people, how people kind of felt about it. At the end of the day, I more care about the North London Derby. I more care about playing Arsenal on Sunday. This is like this for a business, this would be the perfect time to do some shady shit, right? Is the biggest match of our season, our hated rivals coming up at the weekend, and now we're doing this stuff behind. I'm not saying it's shady. I'm just raising the question: is it? Because just the whole look over here, not over here thing.
Fans forum video at all?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Did you watch it, Mia?
Yeah, I did.
What did you take from it?
I thought that the questions that Levy got were very easy, softball questions that he'd already practiced and what he was going to say. I think that Ange comes across as just Ange because, I just love the guy. Everything he says, I just love him so much. And I think Sonny came across well in what he said about the team, about being captain. I think that he represented himself very, very well. So that's what I took from it.
I just thought with Levy, they were the BS defensive answers, to be honest with you. I thought totally BS. I mean, there was, and he sort of like half crept back and half sort of admitted he was wrong, when he's been wrong about so many things on the footballing side of the club, and I just thought, okay, all right, you've admitted it now. The team's doing well, so you're lucky to have a fans forum while we're doing well. If we've been doing disastrously, we wouldn't be having this fans forum now. It'd be the fans forum was at the time that suited him when things are going well, Andrew's going well, and he's praised him up and all that. And look, in these situations, even in political ones, the questions and answers, a lot of them are normally agreed before. I bet the guy who was hosting the event, the Spurs fan, Nihal or whatever his name is, I bet these questions were Levy already knew what he was going to be asked. I mean, I don't understand too simple, but I think that.
Of course they were, Adrian, because you can't just let any questions come through. Because let's be honest, that wouldn't be a sensible thing to do, right? Because any question could be pulled out and spoken about, which obviously there's going to be a chance there could be something very inappropriate or something just, do you know what I'm saying? Like you've got to understand from their point of view. You can't just pull out random questions from random people. It's not gonna happen.
I kind of would have preferred it to just be be in the middle of the pitch, bro. This is what you want, right? You want to be in the middle. You're making all the decisions. Put him in a chair, a podium. Rent the big ass chair from Cambridge that he was so comfortable sitting in that library. Rent that thing. Put it in the middle of the pitch at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and fill it. And then let's ask questions. Ask what I say, but obviously that's very unrealistic. I do see the side of what you're saying, Mia, like how you want to have some kind of structured and form to it, but I also feel like you want to have at least all factions represented. And I don't know that the people the fans that were asking the questions were necessarily asking the questions that all the fans wanted to hear. There was one about like, what would you do pick everyone's clothes forever or wear one pair of clothes? And it's like, what the fuck is that? Yeah. I mean, no offense. Like, if I was there, I'd be giddy too, and I'd be just excited to see Son and excited to see Ainge Postecoglou. But at the same time, this is a fan Q&A with literally the most important person at the club, the three most important people you could say: Ainge, Son, and Levy. The driving force of what we're seeing in Spurs. And these are the kind of questions we're pulling out. I understand we want some kind of structure and some form to it, but let's also have some legitimacy to it. Let's have some where fans can say, yeah, they really did ask them the questions rather than
to me this
feel-good thing.
The structure of the fans forum was all wrong. You know what you're going to get. If you've got the captain of the men's team, the captain of the women's team, you've got Ange there and all that, you're going to get too many warm and fluffy questions, aren't you? You are. I mean, what you really want really is Levy in front of the fans and everyone bombarding him in questions.
Because not bombarding him, civilly asking him questions.
I was about to say, is that fair, Agent? As a person, as somebody, I've never actually had to run a big corporation. I don't think I ever could because I'm not that kind of person. However, is it a fair thing to say that you want somebody as a human to sit there and be bombarded? I think that's not a really good way to go about trying to get what you want out of somebody to start with. And is that very fair And I'm a very fair person when it comes down to it. And I see people as people, first of all. And I think the fact that people just want Levy basically to be bombarded, shouted at, and probably shouted abuse at.
No,
I just don't think that's a very, because people know, but people would. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
the whole point is if it was let for free for all, it would just be abusive and toxic. And is that really what we want?
Bombarded, I apologise. It is actually the wrong choice of words, really. But I believe that Levy has a lot to answer for. He's ignored the football inside the club, so he should be asked pertinent questions. And we know that when you've got a whole line of people that can be asked questions by the 250 that were present, that they're going to be well spread out. So you're not going to get, I mean, there's probably questions that you'd like to ask that weren't asked by the people there. They would have been by me. I mean, if there are hard-hitting questions, fair enough. But look, he's been with the club 23 years, Mia. We're entitled to ask. He got it right with Poch, right? Didn't back him for 518 days. Our squad gradually, what was the youngest squad, gradually began to age. The high press sort of stopped. Players didn't perform. Maybe they got fed up doing the high press, you know. And Poch got the sack and he wasn't back for 580 days. And then he goes for, we're Tottenham Hotspur. We're a big club, so we must have a glamour manager. Like you've got to have a game show host as a manager because you're Tottenham Hotspur, you know. So we tried.
Who was that guy? Was he a famous guy? He had crazy eyes. I didn't like he had big, shifty eyes, and that creeped me out. And I don't know if I was the only one. Who was that guy?
Who's that, Jacob?
The host, the dude who was like,
he
just looked like he had been shocked by an electric, like he had a little like taser, just and he was like,
he works like,
bro, BBC. It's okay, blink, you can blink, you can blink. He just
the thing that gets me though over all of this.
What I was going to say is that I'm not trying to say that he shouldn't answer difficult questions. That is absolutely not my point.
No, I know you don't.
He should take more accountability, 100%. But to try and say that there's one that every single person's going to be covered, there's so many fans, I don't think there's probably... there's not going to be questions that are going to cover every single person's point of view because everybody's such an individual with their individual opinions. But to say that you think that he should just be like hit with random questions, we just know that ain't never going to happen is my point. You know, I just think that I'm trying to be realistic with it. I'm not trying to defend it. I'm just trying to be my realistic point of view.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
I prefer anarchy. Like that's just more of a personality thing. I think I want to see the mayhem.
Sorry, Jacob. Go on. Sorry. Oh,
no.
The fans advisory board is another thing you see. What you do if you want to like prevent difficulty in difficult questions, you spread it out. So the fans advisory board has got a mixture from different supporters groups, ethnic groups, obviously, which I'm not against. Sensitivity groups, disabled groups, blah, blah, blah. So when you have a meeting like what you had with the Fans Forum, if you can spread it out, there's less chance of you having to be put under serious pressure with a load of pertinent questions. And I just think that's the way it went. I mean, I thought Levy was just defensive. I wasn't happy with his answers. I don't hate him or nothing.
There was some that I thought he did decently. To be fair, to be balanced, there were some answers I thought I was like, well, thanks for saying. I'm at least glad he acknowledged the fact that he got it wrong. Because a lot of fans speculated that he was this narcissistic person that just believes, he sits in his high tower and believes all the decisions he makes are the great ones. And for him to get in front of obviously millions of people, we saw it, and admit that he made a mistake, I think that does take a certain element away from the whole, like, he's this soulless human who doesn't think about his own, you know, like a dog who can't smell his own farts type thing. And I just think, which shout out Chewy, I smell that, by the way.
Giving us a beautiful stadium, which I love. I love the old stadium. We needed a new stadium to compete. But us fans now, we're the ones paying the tax. To pay for that debt, we're paying the tax on beer prices and food prices in the stadium. We're paying the tax on gear if you buy it through the Spurs shop, on ticket prices and all that, you know. And they up them prices, and then prices will generate about, they reckon, 2 million to the club. who turned over 444 million last year, and you're squeezing another 2 million out of people that go at the game. I mean, like, I'm a season ticket holder. I'm lucky enough to live local enough to go to the games, but I know lots of people I know local.
But it isn't everyone that got the ticket price rise, right?
They can't afford it. They can't afford £65 a ticket. They asked me, when tickets go on general sale for the League Cup and FA Cup games, when they're 25 quid, if they do go on general sale, which would be unlikely if we're successful this year, right? They'll be sold out. Get us a ticket, Aid, get us a ticket. And I've done that in the last few seasons, you know, but I just think the prices are too high for ordinary fans.
Here's the thing. I think the price of everything everywhere is too high for the amount of money that they're paying normal folk. That's just my opinion. At least that's how it is in America, I think. The prices of everything has steadily gone up, whereas the price of minimum wage and the average salary per capita has more or less stayed the same. And so that's a problem when you do that over the course of 40, 50, 60 years.
And you know, what I find particularly galling, even for fans like me, I know Spurs groups that come up. I drink in the Gilpin Bell before games. I meet Dorset Spurs, other Spurs groups, right? Because I run a group myself. But you'll get fans come down for Newcastle and all that. And don't get me wrong, like my parents were from up there. Like, and they'll get in that ground for £30 a ticket. And I think that's right, yeah? But Dorset Spurs don't get in the ground for £30 a ticket. Mia doesn't get in the ground for £30 a ticket if she has to travel from the coast. And I think that's wrong. I just think that's wrong, you know? But that's just me, you know? I mean, if you can give it to away fans, right, for £30 a ticket, you should be able to do the same for... There should be concessions, unless I'm talking rubbish, and there are concessions for sports groups. If anyone in the chat knows, let me know, you know. But I just think there should be concessions, you know. Especially if like parents are going to come up with kids, they're going to be spending like 200 quid a game or something, you know. I mean, 300 quid a game, you know.
Well, we're coming up on 30 minutes, and I think that's about as long as I can sit down for one of the meetings talking about the bureaucratic bullshits around the football club. So, dude, y'all have anything else you want to add? Last thing I want to say about this whole Scott Munn thing is kind of what I prefaced it all is I don't really know how this is going to affect us. I don't really know who's been making the decisions that are actually affecting us. It's much like my government. Like, I don't know who that lady is in that fancy building, but apparently she's in charge of making the rules that happen in my local area, and she's all the way in Washington, D.C. So when it comes to like these big structures of power and like the way the decision making is divided, I really have no idea. I wouldn't claim to have the ins and outs, knowing whose job it is to do what and etc. But as far as that fan forum goes, I like seeing Son and Ainge out there mingling with the folk. I liked it personally. The optics of that are very nice, regardless of my feelings of Daniel Levy and his replying and answers. So as far as the fan forum goes, as far as this whole Scott Munn thing goes, I don't really care I mean, I care, but I just don't know. So like, I don't know how to care about something I don't know technically how it's going to affect. Like, this could be great, you know, taking something out of your diet, now all of a sudden you feel better, or this could be bad, taking something out of your diet, now all of a sudden you're feeling worse. So I think we'll see kind of how the coconut tree shakes out, so to speak. Did y'all have anything else you wanted to add to that?
Only one thing. I mean, I've seen it in other podcasts where people expressed a bit of fear. Fans, because we're doing well, they don't want Scott Munn to come and ruin their progress. You know what I mean? I understand that. I fully understand that. But, you know, he's an Aussie, and you bet your life he knows Ange from the City Group. You can bet your life he knows him. So the concern is that I've seen in other podcasts, Johnny, who's in podcasts, he's well-informed Spurs guy. He was concerned that a DOF might come in and try and rip up what we're doing now. I don't think they dare to do that, to be honest with you. But I understand. Hello, Ellie.
Hi, Ellie.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't. What do you think, Mia?
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? We won't know until it happens, right? It's just like we can't predict the future, so we don't know if it is going to mess it up or if it's going to make it better. And also big up to Ellie, and I hope you have a safe flight because I'm coming in your suitcase to come to Cyprus with you. FYI.
Where's she going?
Cyprus.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Spawning
Ellie.
it off before the North London derby.
Oh, jeez. She's disappearing now.
Looking it out. She's going to want to Souvlaki out there.
Wow, Ellie, I see how it is. When we need you most to be are you going to watch the game out there in Cyprus, I'm assuming?
Yeah, she wants to go to a bar because there's plenty of Cypriot supporters of Tottenham, obviously. So.
That'll be nice. That'll be fun. That'll be a good time.
We must have a supporters club out there, or more than
yeah,
one.
there is. There is a supporters club out there.
Well, since I have the two of you here, I would like to ask you both. Obviously, we got Arsenal at the weekend. Adrian, what is your general vibe going into this match? Obviously, Arsenal won, was it 4-0 yesterday versus PSV in the Champions League? So they're riding high. They're feeling pretty confident. A lot of pundits are coming out saying this, that, and the other about us. What do you think, Adrian?
You can get at them, certainly get at them. Fulham did well against them with 10 men. And even Man United, when they got spanked by them, Jacob, even with the pace they had at times, it took Arsenal a while to get at them. I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans saying, oh, Spurs go toe-to-toe, Arsenal, they get spanked 4-0, and there's all that old bravado and all that. All right, they're favourites, they're at home. We haven't done well there recently. But I just think them statements are utter rubbish. I mean, one thing we should not do is sit back and try and admire them, because that would be the worst thing we could do, in my opinion. I think our midfield's better than theirs. I think you can get a Zinchenko down that side. At the same time, they could get a Porro. So it is a fascinating sort of like tactical situation. They're strongest down there, right, with Saka and all that, right? So I think we'll go with the same team, but the only thing I've got in my mind is because they're strong on the right and we've got Udogie there, and it could be, and we know we've got Van der Ven on the left, obviously, as last ditch saloon in that spot. I don't know whether Solomon would be sacrificed for Richarlison on the left, because he would give us a bit of defensive strength there. But at the same time, Solomon, 2 assists against Burnley, and that impressed me actually, because we haven't seen a lot of some of these players like Solomon, and I don't think there's any chance of Brennan Johnson starting. I mean, I think there's some fans that have gone for it. I understand why, but I'm not sure if he's the one who is. At least when Solomon gets in the final third, you might think he might give you an assist or something like he did at Burnley. So that's a good sign, rather than being a head down winger that just goes charging forward and loses the ball. So I don't know. What do you think, Mia?
I think that they haven't looked that good. I don't think they've looked particularly good in any of their games. For the Man United games, it was only the Man United game. It was only that last part of it where they actually collapsed Man United, that they got at them. We dominated them for 45 minutes at the end of the Man United game. I feel overall we have looked the better team. I'm not trying to be biased, but I do think we've looked better. Yeah, we obviously have that thing with Saka, but I do think that we can handle it with Udogie, or I think how you say it? Someone said how you pronounce it.
Udogie.
Udogie, yeah, Udogie.
Yeah, that's how I refer to him anyway on this channel. Destiny Udogie, what a guy.
I think that Destiny can handle him because he's quick, he's strong, and he can get back. But on the other side, that is the concern. But what I said earlier, which I think is a bit of a wild card, but when we want to change it up, we could use Porro, Ritchie, and Johnson, and put Emerson. So then we've got Porro in, because he can pass a ball and he is good. So
you're saying to play Porro where though?
Winger, play him on the wing.
On the right or the left? Because you said with Kulu and Ritchie?
No, with Johnson and Ritchie.
With Johnson and Ritchie?
Yes, they can play either side, both of them. They can either.
I mean,
Son and Kolo in there as well. Yeah, right.
But what I'm trying to say is that if we want to swap it up, this isn't to start. I'm not saying to start. I'm just saying when if we want to change it, because Emerson's a bit more defensive minded, and if we obviously don't want to lose what we've got with Porro, we could always, because we obviously have now got Perisic to come on. because that's our normal.
I would make the argument that I think Pedro Porro has actually cleaned up a lot of his defensive errors.
He has.
So that I to the point where I don't know that Emerson coming in gives us an upgrade at the defensive position, or at least the defensive aspect of the right back. So I haven't seen Pedro Porro play as like the forward winger in those positions yet. Not saying Ainge wouldn't do it. I mean, he'd be such a guy to do something like that and keep us on our toes. So it's like, I think it's a good shout for something that maybe like I wouldn't have thought of, the opposition may not be thinking of. So it could be something in game to make a change. I just don't see playing two players out of position mid game. Maybe that is. Ainge will always know, right? I feel like if Ainge did do something like that, I would trust it, and I would say, well, he's definitely seen enough in training to say that's a good idea or not. I just worry about playing two players out of position. Adrian, what do you think? Could Pedro Porro serve as a winger?
If the two midfields cancel themselves out, and I don't think they will, but if they do, we know the game will be won on the wings. But I happen to believe that Basuma, Sarr, and Maddison are better than Rice. Odegaard's been fantastic for them, right? Don't get me wrong. Arsenal are a good side. We're not going to knock them. But then they've got
They're booty
they
cheeks.
play Havertz or Vieira. And I don't care who they play. If our midfield three are on their A game, we win the game. We win the game because we're just that bit better than they are. And don't get me wrong, they're class in midfield as well. You can't knock Rice or Odegaard. Certainly not Odegaard. You know, Rice has tended to sit back in front of his two central defenders. That will suit us. Ange will not. Everybody seems to think we're going to bring Emerson in for Porro and blah, blah. And Ange treats in Scotland, I looked at the Scottish, if you look to all the video links between the Scottish reporters at Ross and all that up there, we're saying like, Ange treats every game as the same. Now, we don't as fans, because we've got intense rivalries like with Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, and all that. So to us, like, no, look, both sets of fans do not like the North London Derby. They're all the bravado. You know, it's when they predict a scoreline to sort of quell their nerves. They always like predict a 2-goal difference. I have actually. I've gone for 3-1 Spurs, but because I think we're in good form. I'm not worried about the result yesterday. And I think our midfield will be better than theirs. And I think we will win the game. And Arsenal fans, my best mate's an Arsenal fan. He's saying, oh, we're always worried when you come to the Emirates, he says, because we think this year's got to be the year you're going to beat us there. So they are nervous. They're giving it bravado, which, like, it's understandable. We are as well. Because it's, you know, the pressure's building. You know, nerves are going to be shredded. And to be honest, both sets of fans want the game over.
Yeah. Jazz Fusion here says, press to impress or get run out of their building. Attack them playing out the back, not the other way around. Do either of you, the best question I'll ask, if you had to put $100 on it, not actually, but if you had to put $100 on it, who do you think is going to have more possession in this match? Because I feel like Arsenal's a team where they like to have possession. We are a team where we definitely, I guess, own the other team in possession, technically. Adrian, I'll start with you. If you had to put $100 on it, who's going to have more possession on Sunday?
I think Arsenal will come at us like a train because we're not notoriously the fast starters when we've been away or at home, even against Sheffield United, you know. So I think they'll come at us. They'll get some early pressure. We'll see. I think we've got, if we push them though and push them high, because we've got such pace at the back, even if they hit balls through, it looks like Trossard's going to play instead of Martinelli, which is a big plus for us because he's a quality player. I think we'll just grow into the game. Then I think our midfield will dominate. I think we've got more bite. I mean, this is the thing in our team. I think we've got more bite than they've got. They're very good. They're very attractive. You don't finish second in the lead if you're rubbish, you know. And they brought Rice in and all that, so they've strengthened. As squad depth goes for substitutions, I think their squad depth is bigger than ours, is better, but it's 11 versus 11 on the pitch, and I'm confident, Jacob. I'm confident we're going to win this game.
that we're going to win it. Not only just go in there and give it. So you're saying we're going to win it. Plus 3 points. Lock it in.
Yeah.
Okay. Mia, what would you say?
Don't, but I'll take that.
Not necessarily the locking it in, but the possession. Yeah. Who's going to, if you had to put $100 on it, who's going to win possession at the end of the match? And why do you think that is?
I think it'll be Arsenal, but I think it will only be marginally. I don't think they're going to have, it's not going to be a massive gap between the possession that we have and the possession that they have. I think I've heard a lot of fans saying we're going to dominate you, we're going to be bashing you, we're going to be absolutely thumping you, but I just don't see it because we like to have possession of the ball as well. We win back possession quite well, and what with Basuma and Sarr in the midfield too, we do win back our possession. So for me, I think it's going to be close. I think they're going to have maybe 60 and we'll have 40, or maybe even closer than that. I don't think it's going to be this huge gap. I don't think it's going to be where they've got like 70% and we have 30%. I really don't.
Do you think there's a world in which where maybe we could have 65%, 60% possession and really just put them on their back? Because what we saw last season was us just letting them have the ball and come at us, and let's see how long we can hang on until we have a counterattack. Was basically the way it appeared, and we got ran over last season.
I think the possession will be close. It'd be like 55-45, and I can agree with Mia on the fact that they may have more possession than us. But it's what you do with it in the key moments and the chances you create, and that's key to win any game.
Well,
usually, you're gone.
If you look, our average goals per game is more than theirs, but their average goals that they concede is less than ours. So it's actually quite an even matched one because we score more goals, they tend to let in less. So I do think that it's going to be an interesting matchup. Like when you look at their stats and compared to ours, it's actually pretty close. It is a pretty close thing. So I'm not going to disrespect them and say that they're way off, but I do think that in games with my eyes, I haven't seen them be as dominant as what they were, I think, at the beginning of last season, if that's my honest opinion.
I believe we'll turn up this time. I believe we will take the game to them, and they don't like that. Like Mia said earlier, even like Man United and Fulham, Arsenal, they don't like it when they want teams to sit back and respect them. We're not going to do that. I actually believe we're going to go there. We will take the game to them. It's Angie's style. That's Angie's style. He's got no other style. If we find ourselves under pressure because they're playing better than us, which we will do in certain parts of the game, well, that's normal anyway. But Ange will not. He will not go into that game with a negative mindset. That's why I think Porro will play instead of Emerson. The front three, I'm not bothered if Solomon plays. I can see a case for Richie playing over there because they're very strong on the right-hand side. So if Udogi's really pushed forward, you might find Richarlison behind him, for example, and he might be pressing like mad or kicking lumps out of someone. I could see that happening, right? I think we've got more chance of getting them down on the Kulusevski side on the left. I think Zinchenko, don't get me wrong, I think he's a very good player. I'd have him at Spurs. But at the same time, I think
Udogi's better. Fuck Zinchenko.
Yeah, I'm talking about the opposite side. At the same time, I think like Arsenal might think, well, hang on, Trossard's done well, he scored well recently and all that. And they might think, okay, if Porro's on their list, they won't know until the teams are announced, we'll have a go at attacking Spurs down the right. They're strongest down their right, but we're strongest on our left to counter their right. But the two teams on the other side, that's where both teams could get some joy, I think. But it could all turn out differently, and I could be totally wrong and banging my head against the wall someday.
I think we're honestly going to create chances all over the pitch.
We will.
I really think that when I've watched them this season, even with PSV, they allowed runners down the left. They have allowed runners down the right. It's just PSV don't have enough quality on either end or through the middle at this juncture to really do any damage to them. They kind of made life easy for David Raya last night. But also in the Premier League, they're very porous in that back line. So I know for a fact we will create chances, whether it be on the counter or whether it be from the build-up play. I think it's going to happen. So Rich says, I worry if we're down 1-0, 70 minutes in, we're looking for a goal and they're staying tight that we can't find a way through. What do we do to change things? What I would say is we're not going to be 1-0 down in the 70 minutes in. I guarantee that. That's just not going to happen. I don't see a world where that's the case. But if it was to happen, I have no doubt that we'd be able to find a way through. We always have, or at least we have this season, when we've been down 1-0, we found a way to come back in every instance where we were down 1-0. So I'm not too concerned about it, personally.
Well, PSV sold their two best players, Jacob. Sangare, or I wouldn't have minded at Spurs as a number 6. He went to Forest for a decent play, actually, I thought, right? I forget the other name of their other player, but I'm not really bothered. So, but, you know, I mean, like, Arsenal was going to get through that group, like stage anyway, no matter who they're playing, so they got an easy group. So I wasn't, you know, I didn't watch it.
Mr. K says, I predict 4-1 Spurs win. We're taking Arsenal's pants down. And it sounds like we're taking the pants all the way back home. Chelsea Blue and Blues in the house. Hit the like. Anyone who hasn't hit that like, please do. Or don't. Partake in the poll. Let me see where we're at in the poll. Maybe I should change it to North London prediction. But thoughts on Scott Munn's first day. 35% says who. 27% tied says much needed turnover. And another 27% says not sure who any of them are. And 11% says disaster class. So that's kind of fun. Everyone's got some mixed answers there.
I think we could bring on Brennan Johnson to change things, because don't forget, when they've got tired legs, bringing the second fastest player in the Premier League on is going to be a problem for them. It's going to be a real problem. And you saw how well he took that goal that was fractionally offside. And then obviously the assist that he gave, because obviously there was the foul before. But he is a really exciting player and he's so rapid. They're not going to be able to handle him down. They're not going to be able to handle whatever side he's down, you know?
Yo, Shawnee. How you doing,
Look at what we got in store
Look what the cat dragged in.
All has to say.
Sometimes your cat drags
up for the late substitution. How's everyone doing?
Hello, Sean. What a blessing. Waking up today, getting to talk to you on the YouTube. How are we doing, man?
Good, mate. You look like you got a packet of fruit pastels on. What's going on there?
I don't know what fruit pastels are, but I've got it reminded me of what was that old, there's like a video game with the snorkel. The dude's got like a big nose and he kind of falls down the squares. It's really old.
No, Joe, what it reminds me of, when people go like rape to raves, it's like a rave show.
The thing is, if I run in this because of the diagonal designs,
no, let's not talk about going running and diagonal designs. Let's just say you have to be a certain type of person to be able to pull that off. And Jacob, you fit that criteria, bro. It doesn't look that awful on you, and that's a compliment. Because if I put it on, people are coming up to me in the street and poking me.
Hopefully a lovely poke. Man, I texted you earlier today and I said, can you explain what the hell's going on? We spent 30 minutes at the beginning of the show kind of talking about it, but now that you're here, I do want to know what your thoughts are, because I don't know for sure who does anything at the club. If I'm completely honest, if I had to put my name, my face behind a statement in regards to any of the folk that make any of the decisions, especially regarding this transfer window specifically, in regards to who Ainge wants and how we got it done and how he worked with those certain people. So is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? Are we cleaning out the dirty garage, or are we just stepping on the anthill we started to build?
You know what, though, mate? I obviously don't know, right? I don't know what's going to happen. But I think with all these kind of backroom directors of football changes, people that are changing structural kind of foundational blocks within the football club, you have to give this stuff time before you crow on it, right? But it was so crazy, mate. I did a video this morning, and because I recorded it by mistake in 4K, it took like 2 hours on my terrible Wi-Fi to upload. And but in the video,
how large was the file?
Like 16 gigs or something.
Oh shit!
Absolutely mad. But But I was saying, like, oh, it's Scott Munn's first day at work. He's 4 months late.
Yeah. I was watching that, yeah.
Is he going to come in and, like, upset the apple cart? Is he going to have, most people want to come in and stamp their authority, right? Like, I remember when I moved to America from Australia to head up a product, I was promised. And the only reason I left Australia, where I was very happy to go to America, was because I was promised I'd have, like, full control over the whole product process, the servicing, the sales, the shape of the product, what it looked like, all this stuff. And I get there and find out that actually all I'm in charge of is how to sell someone else's product and all that. And it was like, what am I doing? This isn't what was sold to me. And I feel like, to a degree, if Scott Munn's going to come in, I kind of said it on the video, I was like, he's probably going to want to stamp his authority on it. And that's fine on paper. But, like, at the end of the day, we're starting to see the fruits that are being bared from Paratici. Like, we're starting to see good things happen. We're starting to see this youth-centric model, like, bear fruits. We're starting to see 2 of those players come through, be massively impactful in the first team. Papasar's been incredible. Destiny Udogie, name me 2 other better left-backs in the Premier League. I'll wait. Talk to me nicely, as Jacob says.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And I'm like, I don't see the point in disrupting all these things when everything's kind of figuring out. So if you had to ask me, like, what do I want to see? I would have wanted to have seen Paratici run down his clock on the ban. The ban, by the way, that shouldn't be in place anymore, because the only reason the FIFA ban is in existence is because the Italian prosecutor asked for the FIFA to extend the ban worldwide, and then the Italian prosecutor then rolled back the ban in Italy. But the FIFA hasn't rolled back the ban worldwide. So the whole thing's weird. But I was like, Paratici's doing bits. Now, maybe Daniel Levy doesn't want to rehire him because of reputational damage, whatever. Maybe there's a little bit more kind of water under the bridge. But ultimately, Scott Munn bringing in a new director of football, what does that look like? And anyway, so my whole video is basically like, it's going to be interesting to see what his first move is. I had no idea that within 2 hours and 5 minutes of the video, and essentially 5 minutes after the video was uploaded, has he come in and, like a bull in the china shop, smashed Gabonini out the door. Gabonini, by the way, who was responsible for signing Vicario, Maddison, for identifying for Liz, for identifying Vuskovic, for identifying Ash Phillips.
Van de Veen? Who
right? So,
who outside of me identified Van de Veen for Spurs?
No, no one in the community. You were the first in the community, but you'd imagine that they weren't.
Some dude in the suit, yeah. Who was it?
You know what, dude? Maybe they were just watching United Spurs of America. And
hey, shout them out. Hit that like button while you're here.
So what's your thoughts on the fact that everybody, barring Matt Law, said left? They've said they didn't say sacked, because surely if you're going to be sacked, there has to be a reason, right? You can't just, like, legally with the laws of your. So why is it Matt Law saying sacked? So I think that's where people
maybe he's just being loose with the semantics, right? Maybe he's just being loose with the wording, but ultimately Scott Munn's come in and day one has ended up leaving, and Paratici's not going to be rehired as far as I'm aware. And to me,
but isn't it important? This real quick, aren't the semantics of it important? Saying he's sacked as opposed to, that's like me saying when I left Sean's house, I left in a raging fury, flying through the road. Like, no, I left. We were amicable, had a good time. I drove very safely, 10-2. You know what I mean?
It said earlier,
paints a different picture.
Matt Law is not a fan of Spurs. Why do you think he's put that in? To stir the crap before the North London derby? To see if he can unsettle things and all that? You've got to read into this. I mean, the man's a prick, right? So 2 ways about it. He's a total prick. Doesn't like Spurs.
You hear that, Matt Law? If you're watching, that's Adrian for you. He's letting you know.
Yeah.
He also
if I've got when I have got to say that's a bit really firm. Sorry if it's over the top using the word prick, but he is. Right, and so I'm thinking, and I was reading, like, Mia's got a great between the lines. I love it because I'm always trying to read ahead between the lines, what's happening at the club, trying to get some insight into what our future direction is, progress.
Can I hire you some more promotion, man, please, Adrian? That was a good bit in there.
Very subtle channel drop there. Go sub to Spurs Between the Lines. Go ahead, Adrian.
And we see this all the time, don't we? This divisive media content they put online, low tier stuff, and listen, we may have a lot of Spurs supporters in the media, but it doesn't stop a lot of the anti-Spurs media and our rivals for posting loads of crap, low-tier crap and all this about our club. And this is why when we do win something this year, the FA Cup, right? You know, I mean, when we win something and other people have a pop at us, oh, you've won the League Cup. It's tribal. It'll be for us and our tribe of fans to enjoy, and F all everyone else, you know?
With regards this movement, whether it's sacking, whether it's a shake hands, you know, see you later, changing of the guard, whatever, regardless of whatever the rationale was, if Scott Munn's intention was to stamp his authority on day one, like, let's not make any bones about it. Day one was supposed to be July the 1st. It was only because of sloppy professionalism when it came to trying to hide from the cameras when he was getting on planes to go to Europe that resulted in his start date being pushed back 4 months. So if he comes in and Gabonini was responsible for identifying Van der Ven, for Vicario, all this stuff, then what does our team look like if Scott Munn arrives on July the 1st and hires a director of football in the middle of July? Could be a completely different team, right? So to me, I just think that it's a little bit crazy that you come in and do something on day one, whether or not there was mutual consent, whether it was already planned, whether or not the intention was always for Gabonini to move on to a different project, and he just decided to hang around until September the 21st. The whole thing just seems really odd. I find it particularly disruptive, and I don't know, man. This Scott Munn guy, I thought, and I do think that his long-term plan at Tottenham is to sort out multi-club ownership. I think that's something we're going to go back down in 2 or 3 years.
I remember you mentioning that when we first hired Scott Munn, was that he was crucial as far as in regards to City and the multi-club management thing.
Yeah, multi-club ownership, mate. If you're looking to
multi-club ownership, yeah.
Daniel Levy's made he's made it particularly clear over the last 2 weeks of his publicity that we're a club that wants to be self-sustainable, and we are a club that is trying to compete, but we're trying to divest the risk away from just purely on the heads of Tottenham fans, and we're trying to increase every area of efficiency and revenue streams. Multi-club ownership, if done well, is a brilliant way to increase your efficiencies, your economies of scale, and the synergies that you can learn from taking chances, A/B testing certain models in backroom operations, in front room, in coaching, in scout, in all these things. There's a million different options if you have other clubs that are doing this work, and you can take the lessons and the learnings and the benefits from it, and you can diverse your risk in the cost structure. So if done well, if done badly, it's an absolute nightmare. There's loads of examples of absolute stinkers of multi-club ownership models that have failed. But I think that that's one of the logical next steps for the club. So I was thinking that Scott Munn, he might be here to look over this and look over that, but ultimately that's really where he's going to offer value.
ENIC did that before, didn't they, Sean? They did it. ENIC did it before. They had ownership of quite a few clubs, didn't they? Like in Europe, Rangers even, I think. I'm not sure.
AEK Athens.
AEK Athens, Slavia Prague.
And then they sold them up. I think, was that to do with rules being introduced by Europe, whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, you wait for competitive.
Let me go ahead and welcome into first time appearing on the channel. Not a stranger to the channel, Zapur, always in the chat, helping me out with the Discord. Welcome to your debut on the channel. How are you doing, first off and foremost? And then secondly, what the hell does all this mean for Tottenham Hotspur, the sacking of these folks?
How you guys doing? You can hear me, right?
Yeah, can hear you good.
Okay, good. All right. Doing fine. Got off of work. But as far as Scott Munn goes, I'm not too worried, but what I am a little bit worried about is this the end of Paratici? Because as much as a lot of people don't like him for the shady stuff he did in Juventus, he's made a lot of great signings, so I don't know if I want to see his reign end or not.
That's fair. When you look at the signings, a lot of them, there's a lot of folks that I like, and I wonder, I just don't know, does Gabonini have a say in this? Is it Paratici? Who's identifying the talents? Sean, you said that you believe it to be Gabbanini, right? Or was the one who someone said that Gabbanini was the one that found Vicario, Van de Veen, and all these other folks.
I don't know anything. I'm just listening to what other people tell me. Johnny H from Twitter knows a thing or two about agents and players and things, and he says he's basically distraught tonight that Gabbanini's left the club. He thinks that it's the biggest. It's a really really poor decision. So, yeah, I don't know who identified who and who did what, but it is.
Johnny has expressed, isn't he, in the past?
I did have this tweet from Johnny specifically. Yeah. I saw this morning. And I thought it was interesting. It says, breaking news. We've had to wait months for the joke that is Scott Munn to turn up for work, and his first act is to undo everything that was finally good at this club on day one. He sacked Spurs' brilliant chief scout Gabbanini. Absolute madness. Scott Munn out. And that's what he looks like. And honestly, if I saw this guy on the street, I would be concerned for my well-being. I worry about where he just was. But you know what? That's just me judging off this picture. He looks kind of crazy. But he's probably a very nice guy.
He's got the eyebrows. He's got that kind of raised eyebrow.
Bro, who does his eyebrows first off? Because them suckers trimmed up. Look at this right underneath this curve.
Plucked within an inch of his life. He's risk blindness every time he goes to the eyebrow technician.
I think he's like a threaded man.
Listen, he's got better eyebrows than me, man.
You know what I mean?
Them things are.
Kids might say their eyebrows are on fleek.
Yeah, as the kids would say, they are on fleek.
Have more feminine eyebrows than you, Mia. I'm not sure who that's an insult on.
Scott Munn will have been observing the progress the club have made over the few months. He'd still probably been working in the background, making a list of potential DOF for us. You know, getting a list down.
Who's the DOF going to be?
Adrian's favorite journalist. I started this also real quick. Adrian, your favorite journalist says Fabio Paratici's been working as a consultant for Tottenham during the summer, but that arrangement is also likely now to end, allegedly. As we welcome in another folk to the chat. What's up? What's up, Tottenham forever? How you doing?
Sorry.
To play devil's advocate, do you think that all along maybe this was arranged? As soon as Scott Munn come in, that they've said and they've agreed to, okay, you want us to leave, but we'll stay here for the time being until he's allowed to come.
The problem is with that, Nia, right? The problem with that whole model is when you bring in a new chief footballing officer that wants to stamp his authority and bring in a new guy as a director of football, you've got two options. And I mentioned it on the video. I think that you either if you go and get a top tier director of football, he's not going to want to come in and run somebody else's who's already left the club's previous system. That he's going to want to take it in his direction. He's going to want to go, you know what, like, screw the youth centric. We're going to go this direction, or he's going to change something that has looked like it's starting to work. Just as it's starting to work, he's going to want to come in and go, no, I'm going to do it my way, because otherwise, what am I doing here? And if you go, well, I'm not going to go and get someone with that much of an ego who's that high value. I'm going to go to the second tier who's more likely to carry on someone else's work. Then what is the point of getting that person in when you could have just kept Paratici, who was top tier and was happy with the model and everyone was starting to get behind it? I just think this is like... Everything you're freewheeling down a hill, and you've taken your feet off the pedals. You're going downhill on a bike, and gravity's pulling you in the right direction, and everyone's in a good mood. And then someone's come out and unnecessarily just rammed a stick into the cogs, and you're going to have to dance it out. Sean, I just don't know if there's any need for it.
Sean, you've chaired meetings in your own field of finance, right? And you know full well that, and I know full well from having chaired meetings in the construction industry, right? That like you speak to people. So what you would do if you're Scott Munn, he would have been observing things that have been going on at Spurs if he's not actively involved behind the scenes, which he probably has been. Right? So Scott Munn knows Ange, right?
Yeah,
he's not
100%. Yeah, I thought Munn was.
He's not. They're both honest. He's not going to come in and wreck the boat. I understand Johnny's fears, but I think and Johnny talks so much sense, but I just think he's espousing a worst case scenario. I just don't see this happening. They're not going to wreck the progress, right? And even Scott Munn coming in, he may want to stamp his authority on who he wants in, but at the same time, he wants to be at the fit. And he wants to be at the fit. We've had so many people come to this club that have been the wrong fit. He'll want to be a fit as well. So, and he's
do you think we would still have signed Mickey van der Ven if Scott Munn had been here July the 1st?
I don't know, but I know that Ange wanted Mickey van der Ven when he was at Celtic. That's what I know, right? Okay. So that is definitely an Ange signing, Mickey van der Ven.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't know
that. Other than that, we are surmising and speculating. There's nothing wrong with that. It's conversation, isn't it? It's good conversation. But I don't think this guy has got a proven track record, apparently, with the City Group, wherever he's been. Apparently, though, he's not well versed in European football. But this is why you get your director of football that does that. We know Angie's very versed in Asian football, all football below the Southern Hemisphere. So we'll see who Scott Munn appoints. And it will be interesting, Sean, because as you've sort of alluded to, it's going to be very interesting because, like, as soon as this director of football comes in, we're all going to be researching him to see what his background is and where his expertise actually is, and has he got a proven success record? That's what I'll be looking at. Where's he from? I want him to have a European knowledge, obviously, if not a broad, wild, world-based knowledge. You'd want that, wouldn't you, as well? But it's hard to be like, it's hard to be an expert in every league in the world.
Whatever happens, Adrian, like I'm not. By the way, I might have come in and maybe like running a little bit on the Johnny H train because I do think it was.
I like Johnny H.
I love Johnny pieces, right? I love him. He's brilliantly knowledgeable as well. He's a really great guy. But I think he probably, maybe is to your point, maybe overreacting a little bit and espousing the worst case scenario. I'm just surprised with the timing. The first day, first hour, like first half an hour of the day, and you first walk in. Welcome everyone. How you doing? You're fired. You're out.
Get your ass. I kind of like it. Like as a Texan, that's how I'm walking into the saloon. I swear. Hang on, Adrian, for a second. I just want Sean. This takes a certain type of somebody to walk into the place and say, hey, that office looks nice. I'll take that one. And that office looks nice. I'll give that one to my assistant.
Yeah, exactly.
That takes a certain type of goal. I kind of respect it.
In any event, Jacob, like, I'm not going to lose my mind about this. I'm going to wait and see. But if in 6 months' time it hasn't worked out, I'm still going to wait and see. But these sorts of appointments, you've got to give it 2 years to see how it pans out.
All I'll say is, look, the timing of this, like you say, is significant. But this isn't Scott Munn. Scott Munn starts his first day. Matt Law broke the story. And he did, and he's got the effect he wanted to get the effect out of his story. That prick broke the story, right?
Thank you, Adrian. Come on, send it home.
It's true, though. We wouldn't even have this conversation if Scott Munn had started today and Matt Law hadn't opened his mouth and put the word sacked, because that's the thing that's got everyone going, sacked.
Yeah.
A word there.
Trigger word there.
You talk more about Arsenal, which I'm sure.
I would have been the same. I would have been the same if it was just they've left by mutual consent. I would have been like, damn, it's not.
No, but wouldn't you? But hold up a sec. Mutual consent means that they've both agreed to it. Where sacked looks like we've chucked you out the door. We've got stuff and kicked you out. So what I'm trying to say is the reason.
It's the outcome.
I understand it's the outcome for you, but a lot of people who are very hyperbolic are saying sacked. Oh my God, he was sacked. How dare he? How Scott Munn do it? But we don't know the conversations behind the door, behind closed doors, and what was agreed to, what wasn't agreed to. If it was just a mutual consent. So what I'm trying to say is that mutually they agreed to it. We don't know, but this whole sacking thing has made people go a little bit kind of crazy.
But that's what it's supposed to do, isn't it? That's what a panel show's about. None of us know the truth. Let's be all absolutely crazy. Let's lose our minds.
Yeah, I like it. Let's overreact. Let's underreact.
It's too late at night for me to do that. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to be awake this time of night.
I don't think he was sacked. I think he wanted the DIF job. And Scott Munn's had weeks and weeks, supposedly not working for us today, to draw up a list of interviewees for this job as DF, and he's probably got his own man in mind. And it's well known that Italian clubs were interested in taking Gabbanini, whether as head coach or DOF. And I just think like he's then been in a position to say to Scott Munn, well, like, any chance of me getting a DF job? And he's gone, well, no, mate. I went, okay, all right, well, I'm going. I'm going. And so he's gone, I'm going. And now I could be totally wrong in my summarization, right? And football's made a fool of me enough times, you know what I mean, in the past, and probably will do in the future.
It's more to a DOF role than being a good scout, though, right? A chief scout is.
This is probably why Scott Munn's probably said no to him.
Yeah.
You know, I more like the idea of Scott Munn walking in and saying, "That's my office. Get the hell out of here. Thank you for your service." That's also my office. Get the hell out of there.
Introduce the guy on the far right. I want to know who he is.
Hey, Gabs, look, you can stay gainfully employed by Tottenham Hotspur, but you're going to be a virtual employee, okay? Because that office is mine.
That is my office, sir.
Hologram, Sean.
That is the biggest cojones move. I love it. Honestly, I respect it. I cannot knock a man who's just going to walk in and just pew, pew, pew.
Yeah,
I love it. Zapor, I think I've asked you, do you think this guy right here that we're looking at, creepiness aside, is it the right move? Let's assume the notion is correct. I'm going to assume my notion is correct. He walked in there, big dicked everybody, and now he's walking around big boy on campus. Is that the right approach, or do you think I'm totally full of shit now?
So I actually had a question. Is the general consensus that he was hired in Ange's vision for the club? Because if so, then
Wayne Muir here says, wasn't it Scott Munn who steered Levy into the direction of looking at Ange's appointment anyway? Yes. Adrian shaking his head, yes.
Okay, so he was.
I really have no idea.
Before the egg, like
maybe
first, Scott or Ange.
So we're saying this is Scott Munn's first day. I don't know that it is. We've heard that he's been lurking in the background. Same thing about Paratici. We've been saying that he's lurking in the background. I gave him credit because I didn't know who's getting the credit, because I love the Mickey Van de Veen signing. I love a lot of the business that we've been doing recently, these young kids that we've been getting in, as well as the talent for right now. I really much enjoyed a lot of what we did in that transfer window. So whoever did that business in the transfer window, I'm worried. I hope it's Scott Munn, and this is just mere formality that he started at this time. I don't know. Ryan, let me ask you. First of all, welcome to the show. How are you doing? And how did this news find you? Did you freak out? Were you scared? Or were you like, I don't know, maybe they're cleaning out the garage? Or were you like me, like, I don't know who he is and what he does technically? He's that guy you walk past in the office like, bet he's got an important job, but you don't really know what the fuck he does. You just see him in the break room getting coffee.
Look, do you know what, right? It's like it's just crazy, man, because it's like, and I have to agree with what Mia says, but I can also like oh, by the way, hi Mia, how are you? But also it's like also the way that my mental health's gone at the moment, like up and down, like really big time. So it's been like a bit of a like what the hell's going on kind of a moment. Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit of an awkward situation because it's like you was also saying, Jacob, right? Like peeping, like get out of my office kind of thing, right? But then it's like, whose office is it really? Do you know what I mean? So to be honest, to me it's more like who's playing peeping Tom, really, in my opinion. But yeah, no, it's crazy because it's like it's become a bit of a shock because it's for 1 minute to the next it's like who's in and who's out. It's like, why can't we do this with like the players like Eric Dyer and and other players like that? We can do it okay with the staff, but why can't we do it okay with players like Dyer and all the deadwood that we still got lying around and Tongi? Get all of them out. Get all the players out as well as quicker than you can get the staff out, in and out, in my personal opinion anyway.
Costs a lot more money to sack a player.
Yeah, true, Sean. True.
And right now, I think what's their name? Galatasaray. They're paying what 60%, or we're paying 60% of Ndombele's wages. Something like, so it's actually not a bad deal when you consider this guy was just going to pull a Hugo Lloris and just hang out basically on the training pitch and get paid oodles of money. So I'm not. Yes, in an ideal world, I agree with you that we would offload the Dyers and the Sanchez and the Ndombles and the players that aren't going to be working out here. I agree, but at the same time, like you can have a garage sale, but if no one's driving, if they drive up and they're like, that looks like a piece of shit, I'm out of here. And you're like, damn, no one wants to buy my old underwear with a bunch of holes in it. What's going on here? And it's
Hold on, Sanchez has gone.
There is someone out there that will buy your old underwear with holes in it. There's websites.
No, don't tell me that.
Yeah, Sean knows about those special websites.
Actually, the latest sponsor of my channel. It's called.
Now you got to sponsor the channel really big time now.
Happydrawers.com. You can get price for one on Spurs Talk Show if you go hashtag 10%.
Oh, it would be better if it was called Holy Knickers.
Oh, David Cooper, we're just making fun of Scott Munn's appearance because he's got these eyebrows to die for, technically.
Ryan, what you want would be Scott Munn's duty to see that it's done, and he'll do it for his director of football because he's going to be the chief executive officer, his chief football officer over everything.
He's definitely bringing them California wave eyebrows to the office. We got that locked down.
Don't worry, Spurs fans. These players will be gone by the end of the season. And if there's a couple left, they're not going to play. So what are you worried about? Dyer's not going to get a game, so don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like they're going to be gone.
But then also, right, it's a bit weird, right, that by now, if we had got all the Deadwood out a couple of years ago, right, the only person that would have probably have got them out would have been Sean and Mia. I would have rather put them two in charge, to be honest, of all the wheeling and dealings, to be honest, because it would have been a lot easier. But then saying that, though, Mia and Sean seem to also have the hard hitting questions, so they should have been on the fan forum the other night. To be honest,
I applied to go, and I was.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Oh.
I was rejected as well, Sean. I was rejected by him.
I was rejected. I was seeing people going, "Oh, look! Everyone that gets to go is a Levy-inner." I was like, "Finally, I'm no longer considered a Levy-inner because I was rejected."
You can put that up as your badge of honour, Sean. You can say, "I'm no longer a Levy-inner because look, I got rejected."
I got rejected. I'm no longer.
You know, that's actually
It was the most recent thing I've been called.
Who? What? Wait, say that again.
A bootlicker. A bootlicker is apparently.
Oh, yeah. They say that about people who like kiss ass to the.
Do you know what, though, guys? I got to say, I wasn't even drunk, right, last night. True story. I wasn't even drunk, believe it or not. And I decided to text Ben from Ben and Sim from We Are Tottenham TV, and I said, I know you're going to the game, right? The Arsenal game. How much for your ticket? Just for shits and giggles. And he goes, 5 figures, bro. I was like, 10 grand? You want £10,000 for your ticket? Like, so he goes, yep. And I was like, so you wouldn't accept £9,000 right now for your ticket? And he went, well, make me an offer. And he said, I said, I'll give you 300 quid or 400 quid. And he went, no, days like this are too important. So for some reason, that was the end of the conversation. But I then went and looked up online tickets for the Arsenal game. And I found one for slightly more expensive than that. And that's the sort of thing that I would usually do when I'm drunk and like feeling stupid and not making smart decisions. But guess what? I actually woke up this morning feeling like sick, paralytic sick, because I got an email saying that your ticket is in the post. And so I'm going to the Arsenal game.
Oh, hell yeah.
How much, Sean? How much did you pay? Come on, confess.
I reckon it's £500 to £600.
I reckon $450.
I'm going to say 5 even.
Including the service charge, which I didn't see at the time.
What do they have, like a 25% service charge or some bullshit?
That was the vodka frenzy for you, Sean. The vodka
frenzy. The thing, I wasn't drunk. It's like if I woke
up, the most shocking part. He wasn't drunk.
Next to the desk, I'd have been like, "Damn you, alcohol! You've done it again." But I was sober as a judge.
What's weird? When I watched the video and he said he was sober, I nearly fell down saying, "What, Sean, sober? What?"
Hey,
you know what I think it is? I think you're drunk on. Yeah, there's a comment I see, drunk on Ange Ball. It's exactly what I was gonna say. Shout out West Coast Cockerel. You're drunk on that Ange Ball. You were just thinking, man, what would it be like when Jacob's right and Tottenham go in there and they put the work on Arsenal? Sean, everywhere I've gone, the big ass channels, and I've said it with my chest, that we are going to go there and we are not going to lose. And everyone thinks I'm crazy. Everyone said I'm wild.
I don't think you're crazy at all. I think that the logical head. I always try to go with the logical head on my, and I don't want my heart to lead me too much. And my logic says I think we can get out there with a score draw. But my heart, that does want to pump out, but I know not to, says that we can get 3 points, and that's why I ended up paying silly money, because I think that
you want to see it.
The greatest night for a Tottenham fan, or the greatest.
Did we get a price that he paid? I didn't hear it. Or did I?
I'm not going to say it either. It's not.
Put it in the private chat. I want to know.
Ed M said he sold it to you for $1,400.
At least tell us the service charge.
I still haven't got the ticket yet, so
one hell of a service charge, 225%.
It might just be the biggest scam I've participated in a lot of scams in the crypto world. I've lost a hell of a lot of money in scams over the last 8-9 years. This one might be the greatest. But I'm looking forward to hopefully getting in to watch the game on Sunday.
I have a question for all of you regarding Sunday. David Cooper asked almost an hour ago, Jacob, who do you think will start up front Sunday? And I'm going to throw this up to all of y'all. You pick your starting 3 to face Arsenal. Who you think are going to put the work on Arsenal first? And I'll go reverse order. So we'll work. Ryan, I'll work from you, and we'll go left. Tell me just what 3 are you picking, and then we'll go to Zapur.
My 3 that I'm picking, well, it's got to be Sonny up front, definitely. There's no doubt about that, 110%. Then it's awkward because do we play Richarlison on the left wing? Do you know what? I'd even probably go maybe Solomon on the left, and then probably have Kulu on the right, and then bring on what's his name? The new one, the new kid, Johnson on the right, and whoever else we've got on the bench afterwards. I mean, but Basuma's also got to start as well, to be honest.
Yeah. But just in regards to the front 3, so let me get this straight. You're going Solomon, Son, Kulu, or Solomon, Son, Brendan Johnson?
No, I'm starting with Son, Solomon, and Kulu.
Okay.
I agree. Same here.
Solomon on the left, Son in the middle, Kulu on the right. Sean, you agree with that?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
I agree with that as well.
Everyone's agreeing.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't try and fix it.
That's the thing, Zapur. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So why is Gabonini out the door on day 1?
It also depends. We don't know who's making those great scoutings of lately. Like who's behind all that?
I'll tell you why. Because look, Gabonini got them good eyebrow. He don't need that eyebrow work done. Look at him.
He ain't got any eyebrows. He's got
exactly non-existent eyebrows. And the guy said, I don't trust you. You ain't got no eyebrows. Give me that office. Get the hell out of here.
He's got 0 Botox. He's still got that kind of frown.
Golden is still there. He's still there. Golden.
Yeah. He is enjoying that picture, ain't you, Mia?
He's probably next to go.
Yeah, he's not bad looking, you know.
I just worry that if he's behind the decisions that we've made.
Lack of eyebrows.
So everyone's picking a front 3 of Solomon, Son, and Kulusevski. So I get it right.
Yes.
Yeah. In an unlikely, I could see, I think I mentioned it earlier before Sean and the others come on, that I wouldn't be surprised if Richarlison played on the left instead of Solomon.
Mm-hmm.
Because Arsenal are very strong on their right-hand side.
Don't you almost want, David Coop Dog says, what about Richie? No. This was kind of the thing I was going to pose, maybe him on the left over Solomon, because if he can get in there and just ruffle some feathers, maybe that would create a gap on the other end.
Shithousery is not enough of a reason to put him on the... You need someone who can take on Ben White. You need someone who can get in behind and put the ball in. Right? And Solomon can do that. Solomon's got the play.
Yeah,
Richie,
Ben White might pocket Richie if we do that.
Richie hasn't got a first touch.
Yeah, I agree. But I also think that then Richarlison could come in the middle for free kicks, corners and things like that if he was playing on the left to give you the shithousery in the middle. So I would start with Solomon though, but I'm just throwing it in there. That front 3 starts especially after Solomon's 2 assists on Burnley. He showed me, there's a bit more to your game. I'll see a bit more to him.
To be fair, one of those assists was literally just give it to the Lord. Just give it to him, and he'll take care of the rest. But you know what? You got to be composed, and you got to be in the right place to make that decision. Just like I gave Richarlison credit for that Kulusevski assist. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, it's just a 4-yard pass," but think about it. He just scored a goal. He's opened the Hoover Dam, so to speak, and now in that moment in the penalty box with the ball, you can either do the right thing, which is what he did, laid it off for Kulusevski, or you could say, "I'm going to be the hero today and take that shot." Which, you know, if you pause that moment.
Jacob, if that ball falls to Sonny in the same position, not hating on Sonny, I love him to pieces, but if that ball falls to Sonny instead of Richarlison, if Sonny's still on the pitch, does Sonny give the ball to Decky, or does Sonny do 3-4 little like half step over things and then ultimately knock the ball to the right and he gets a block shot?
Well, the only time that happened was because he was looking for the lane in the box, Sean. So I know what you're referring to, and that only happened because
it happened all last year. Every time
Solomon did the same thing on the left wing position. Solomon did do the same exact thing, if we remember, versus Sheffield, where he's looking, and he could have laid it off to Sonny. There's moments in where players will do that.
Would have passed, would he?
They're also encouraged to
Sonny,
take those shots.
I think he would have, because being the player he is now, I think he would have laid that ball off because he is the captain and he's trying to always do what is the right thing. That's just my opinion.
I think it depends on how Sonny feels about his game. When Sonny was less confident, when we were at Man City, he squared the ball for Kulusevski to score. A confident Sonny would have gone on and scored that goal himself. So I just think it depends. And Sonny's a streaky player. He gets goals in streaks. He's not like an every other game goal scorer like Kane, or like Kane was 2 goals in 3 games every 3 games.
Who's this Kane you talk about? I don't know no one called Kane. Sorry.
Fair enough, Mia. Fair enough.
I don't know no one called Kane.
Yeah, so with Sonny, it's confidence. We always notice it, you know. When he's at his best, he's instinctive, isn't he? And then he'll just take the shot on. But
I mean,
he
it doesn't.
it off after 3 goals at Burnley. I suppose he's confident. He'd probably taken it on. Actually,
I understand we've got to have talking points, but this is the most pointless one ever because we ain't never going to know, are we? So
no.
What do you mean?
We won the game with Richie anyway. So why does it matter whether we would have passed it or not?
Mia, stop! You're taking the dance. You're like lifting my skirt up. Just. It's okay. I'm giving the dance here. We're doing the hula dance. No need to look under the grass skirt just yet. All right. Dang. I'm like, you're right. Why are we talking about it on a Thursday afternoon? I'll tell you why. Because we got Arsenal this weekend. Yeah, that's why.
Can I just say something, Jay? Sorry, Sean.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, yeah. Just wanted to give my prediction as well on the North London derby, to be honest. And I think we'll probably win 5-1, personally.
Oh, 5-1. You say 5-1 for us?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm putting it out there.
Hey, I like it. I like the vibe. I'm not going to lie about that. I just think they are a good enough side to not allow 5 past. But you know what? You never know in these kinds of matches.
And also it's David Raya in that.
And has he even been tested yet as an Arsenal goalkeeper? Because yesterday he was not.
Against Everton he wasn't, was he?
No, he was not. So he's kind of had it easy, and he thinks he's hot shit. Let's go ahead and say that again, Zapur.
He's still a really good goalkeeper. It doesn't matter if he's been tested last game or not.
I like to go with the fact. I hear you. That's rational thinking. But I'm going to go with the fact, since he didn't sign for us and he signed with the Filth, I'm going to say that he's a horrible goalkeeper. He hasn't been tested, and we're going to test him on Sunday, and he's going to get that ass work.
And
that's
also, screw Raya, you absolute beep. That's what
there you go.
Well,
you know, in Vicario I trust. He's better anyway. That's what I'll say.
100%.
The way I understood it is that Raya did want to come here, but his agent wanted more, and so we needed a goalkeeper right then and there. So we got Vicario, and then
Can we not put Debbie Downer on it? Come on now. We've got Vicario, and he's much better than that stupid.
That's what I'm saying. I've loved what I've seen from the young Italian, to be quite frankly. I think he's up for the big matches. He's mentally there. He doesn't seem checked out and reserved. When we look at some of the results versus Arsenal last season, I specifically remember a goalkeeper playing volleyball with. I've never seen somebody do something like that personally in my line of work. It was just quite the blunder from Bukayo Saka. Just hit him right in the chest, and he decided to hit it into the net. I don't understand. Boxing Kangaroo says our lack of squad depth is going to bite us for a while yet, at least another 3 transfer windows. And then the geezer in the picture, Callum, that is Gabbanini. He's now unemployed. Well, he might be on his way to a job interview. I don't know, but at the moment, his office is being occupied by somebody else.
I mean, if he wants to stop by my house first, he can come to the beach for a bit first if he wants.
Rich says 5-1 Spurs is a bit negative there, Ryan. And West Coast Cockerel says, Sean, don't come on Jacob's show and talk down Sonny.
I'm not allowed, am I? Sorry about that.
Sean, you're allowed to come on this show and say whatever the hell you want, but I will refute and I will say what I think, which is Sonny would have done the right thing. Just like if Richarlison's capable of doing the right thing,
I like
I'm
your
100%.
But I've got like 3 years of evidence that suggests that he would have.
Well, sometimes when you're him, you have to take the shot, right? When you have Harry Kane constantly overshadowing you, you have to.
We would have resulted in a draw. So, you know.
Here's the thing: he's not Robin anymore. That's the Robin mentality, and he is Batman now. He is the one. He is the head honcho. So I like that more.
Jacob, I would like to say that Scott Munn picked Ange Spurs manager after taking advice from Paul the Hotspur hippie. Right?
Yes, he did do that. Shout out Paul the Hotspur hippie was the first one that I ever remember saying.
Where is he?
He's been working lately, so he's back to work. Yeah, he was. He's been going live later than usual and hasn't been joining me for my daily shows either. Paul, what the hell? I guess I'll just hold this week's paycheck in the mail then, and then we'll wait till you show up or I'll put it in your office. How about your green room? I always joke. I say I got Paul a green room because he's such a celebrity now. Sean is doing it again, says Don Vito.
Damn straight. Always good.
I love it. People don't be chiming in the chat until Sean says something, and I like it, honestly. So
I got a question for you guys.
Oh, here we go. What's up?
Right. Last season, Liverpool finished 5th with 67 points. Right? So if Spurs win 23 games, now 5th this year gets you Champions League. If Spurs win 23 games, this is because I want to pump a bit of positivity amongst Spurs fans.
We're going to win 27 games this year.
Right. If we win 23 games, if we were to, that would be 69 points, 2 more than last year. Right? That leaves 15 games, 45 points. Do you think Spurs are going to lose 15 games this year or give away 45 points? If not, we should get Champions League. Just want to throw
We're getting Champions League, mate. We're getting Champions League. It just depends on how Champions League we want to be. Do we want to be like the first Champions League spot? Do we want to be second? I don't think we're going to leave it to the 5th. I personally think if we can survive injury scares, I think Perisic is actually a big blow, to be honest. I think it's a really big blow. I think it's a bigger blow for Richarlison as well, because I think that those two are being worked in tandem. But I think that Tottenham are going to finish.
Well, we've got 15 games before January, unless like Gill or Brennan Johnson can step up on the left, Sean.
I think Brian Hill's going to be. I don't think Brennan Johnson will play off the left. I think, if anything, you might find situations where Brennan Johnson goes through the middle and Sonny gets put back out on the left hand side. I think there's so many. We've got so many options. But I don't know when Brian Hill's due back. Is it?
I don't think Sonny's very effective on the left, to be honest with you.
Sean, per his Instagram stories, soon.
What does that mean, though, bro? What does that mean?
Well, soon's such a relative term. Soon to me could be in 5 minutes, but to my wife, soon could mean at least an hour and a half. But
that's because she's Greek. We don't have time. Do you not understand Greek people? They say they're going to be somewhere, and they turn up 2 hours later. That's what we do.
Now she's a big professional therapist, and she has clients and stuff, and so she's like I got to be across town in 30 minutes. And I'm like, you have 20 minutes to get there. It's going to take you at least 30 minutes to get there, but that's neither here nor there. Shout out my wife. She's always had that. Her dad's the same way. You're right. It's that Greek. He's the same way. We started a business together, and he would be like, "Hey Jacob, I'm on my way to the shop. I'll see you there in 15 minutes." I'm like, "Great, 15 minutes. I'm there waiting." And then I call him, "Hey man, I'm on my way," and he literally has not left yet. So that's that Greek.
Shout out to the Greeks. I'm not being offensive because actually I know, so it's all good.
You have to caveat every single time you say something in jest about a certain type of person.
I know.
I mean, I can say it because I'm actually part of that community.
I know, but I've been called a racist recently, so I'm just trying to make sure because I don't want to have anyone calling me a racist again. Because it's really not a nice thing.
You've made it. Once you get called racist, if you're slagging off your own kind, then you've made it. You've absolutely made it in the Tottenham community.
Well, per the audience, we give them what they want. Don Vito says, "Get the Mr. Box Office on," and that is what we've done. Indeed, he's the ratings killer, and in America, being the ratings killer means that you are actually doing well. So
he's looking in that direction where he's about to come. He's waiting for his chance to speak. Whenever he's got only one eye on the screen and one eye hidden behind the glasses, you know he's
cooking.
Come.
Yeah.
It's Mr.
Like
I hate Ange because everyone else likes him, so I'm going to hate him.
He doesn't hate him. He just says, "Prove it to me over a consistent basis."
He said it on Alan's show. He said, "I hate Ange because everybody else likes him so much and pushes him so much. So I'm going to I now hate him."
Well, we have him here, Alex. First and foremost, aside from Ange and Spurs, I hope you're doing well. Happy Thursday. We are ever close to the Derby, and I know you can't wait as well. But before we talk about these egregious claims that Mia has, these alleged incidents on another channel, Alan, time at it on, shout him out. How are you doing? What's up, man?
I've just been on the beach, put my flip-flops on for some of the Tottenham fans that are and drinking diluted juice. The point is, this is to remind people because a lot of people see me a lot of the time because I'm too busy. Well, Alex is too busy. It's Mr. Box Office, the main event, the Professor of Truth and Entertainment, the ratings killer, like everybody calls me. And if you don't know, get to know. Let's talk about Scott Munn. Let's talk about Scott Munn. Because now everybody's getting all worried now because Gabby Dean's been sacked. Oh my gosh, we've got all the players that we've got and the world class players we've got. Oh, he's got this thing going on as well. The young players are coming up as well, and I'm like, again, why are we getting all worried for at the end of the day? I thought Scott Munn was a hero. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, I'm still just relaxing at the end of the day. Someone said that I hated Postecoglou. Yes, I did say I hated Postecoglou. The only reason why I said it is because people keep on rinsing it in my face. You know what I mean? Saying, "Oh, I've got to back him. I need to back him." Well, if I speak to people like Paul, who's known him for 20 years, if I speak to people like Kuva, who speaks lots of sense, if I speak to someone like Esmatic, even though he plays lots of FIFA, they'll talk to me like sensible and say, "You know what, mate? You might not agree with me. I might not agree with you about Postecoglou, but I see your point. Not like someone like Jay, for instance, who tells me he's logical when he's the most deluded Tottenham fan I've ever heard in my whole life. Yeah.
Well, let's not speak about Jay unless he joins the show. Shout out Jay.
My whole life,
Jay, you're welcome to join as well.
Because I'm the most logical person. When he was telling me to back Conte, look what happened there, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like I said before, I need time to see how it goes because I need to see this guy with a bad run. Let me say this for a fact. It's the best football since Podge every single time, yeah? And I've seen the team twice at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So I ain't going to lie about that every single time, and that's it. You know what I mean? I think we'll get a draw against Arsenal, yeah? Because we'll go for them every single time, yes. But I ain't going to get upset if we lose, no. Because it's too early, and that's it, yes. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry, I'm not listening to the rubbish I'm hearing from some.
It sounds to me, Alex,
like that's all I need to say, and that's it. You know what I mean? I keep it short and sweet. Not like some other Tottenham fans, and that's it. Back to you, Jacob. I'm done. If you don't know, get to know.
It sounds a lot, Jacob. It sounds a hell of a lot like you really want to be positive, but you just can't quite be there. Because I'm keeping my feet on the ground. I forget all the logic stuff. Like I'm not going to get excited. But by the way, I also think we're playing the best football I've ever seen in my entire life, and that's it. I also think we're going to get a result at Arsenal, and that's it. But I'm still not going to get excited. But I think that everything's going absolutely brilliantly.
So let me ask this question to Alex real quick. I want to ask. So I've predicted that we're going to go into the Emirates, and you might have something to say about my prediction, but I feel like we're going to go there. We're definitely not going to lose. My heart's saying a win. My mind says we're going to get out there with a 2-2 or a 3-3 draw. But if we go in there and say we put the work on them and we come home with 3 points, what would that alter any way that you feel right now about Ange Postecoglou?
No, because it's too soon. It's 6 games. It's too soon.
6 games, and one of them consisting of a club that is allegedly supposed to be a title-challenging club.
When we're in business end of the season, we'll see where we are.
If you're not backing Ange, then how do you expect for Levy to back him?
Well, no, that's the point I'm making, mate. Is that the fact is, when he has a bad run, yeah, when things are not going well, right, we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? Because we know what our club is like. You know what I mean? We've already seen now. We've had one strategy right now, which I've told that we've got the best youngsters going right now. Yeah, the class of '92 and called it the Johnny. By the way, I'm not gonna have a go at him because I've said it already to him already. You know what I mean? But like I said, the structure, and we've already had Gabbiadini out the door already. Yeah, right. So I don't know where that conversation was between Scott Munn and Paratici and what was going on before, because it was going well beforehand, and all of a sudden now Gabbiadini's out the door. So what's going on? You know what I mean?
Day one, swinging that thing. Scott Munn walked in and said, "I got the best eyebrows in town."
The only thing I will say is, right, and this is where Postecoglou will have to really show his leadership at the end of the day. Yeah, regardless what's going on behind the scenes, he's got to just think about what he's doing at the moment and just go down that train right now. Yeah, ignore the noise behind him right now, because when you look at what's going on in the Premier League at the moment, when you've got like Liverpool at the moment, Klopp, they've got bad owners. Look at them, yeah. But Klopp has kept the train going, yeah. Yes, he had a difficult season, but he's still got the trophies he's got already. You know what I mean? Yeah. And look at the mess that they've had already. Manchester United last season. Look at the mess that was going on last season with the owners and stuff. Changhar got a trophy and got them into top 4, even though there's lots of mess beforehand. Yeah, it's coming to 4 right now. Yes, and that's it. But this is the point I'm making. You see what I'm saying? I think Postecoglou will have to, regardless of what's going on behind the scenes, he's going to have to just push it.
What, Alex? The thing is, right? I really don't disagree with what you have said. Actually, I don't. But the part I disagree with is to say that you hate someone because someone likes someone, or because people are being positive about someone. I just can't understand the logic behind that, because you're being quite reasonable in what you're saying and your logic behind what you're saying. So to say that you dislike someone, to me, completely chucks you being logical out the window.
No, but you're not listening to me. The point is,
I am listening
when you're saying what I'm saying is, I don't like Ange for certain reasons, like people like pushing it right in front of my face. Yeah, saying you need to like him, you need to like him, you need to like him. Yeah, when I'm talking to people like Paul, who's known him for 20 years, right? I'm saying my reasoning is that it's not because of Postecoglou. I'm saying I've seen this before. I need some time to be convinced.
I understand. You don't need to re-say it, because I understand exactly what you're saying. But if those people have been sensible, why do you listen to the ones that are pushing it in your face more than the ones that are just telling you we agree with you or whatever? Like, I don't understand this "I hate Ange" thing. I just think it just comes across. No,
they're pushing me towards not like him at all. To be honest with you, those sort of people are.
But like, why? You should have your own mind and not worry about other people's
because it's like
opinions.
it's just saying it's kind of put me irk around it. It's saying, well,
I understand, I get it, but then you should worry about other people's opinions, Alex. You should worry about yours and think about your
I'm not bothered about my opinions, but I'm just saying because I'm a stubborn guy, I don't really care what anybody says. But I'm saying when people keep on throwing it in your face all the time, like certain people, yeah, throw it in your face. yeah, saying, "Oh, you need to back him. You need to back him. You need to back him." I'm like, well, I know what my feelings are on him. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm still gonna stick by what I'm saying. So the more you keep on saying it to me, the more I'm just sitting there thinking, well, you're just making me hate the guy now because you just keep on putting it in my face all the time. You get what I'm saying?
Alex.
I can understand that. Real quick, I just want to say that, Alex, I do understand what you're saying, and I do hear you when you say that. Like, I have a propensity to when people are like, "Oh, you got to watch this movie," and everyone's right. I go online, everyone's talking about this movie. Granny from down the street's talking about this movie. I have a propensity to say, you know what? I'm not going to watch that movie for a while until the hype dies down. So, like, in a sense, I agree. I can understand, I think, where the mindset comes from to say, hey, look, everyone's been pushing this down my throat. Everyone and their grandmother, people who used to hate us, are now talking about how much they love Ainge Postecoglou. Liverpool fans I'm seeing on Twitter are talking about they hope Spurs' success because they love Ainge. And honestly, I'm here for the love, the immaculate vibes of Ainge Postecoglou. The wave of joy and hope and wetness has just overtaken me, and I'm just struggling to stay afloat right now. So I feel like I feel the opposite of you, Alex, but I can appreciate where you're coming from in that sense, because me too, like with there was a show that I wouldn't watch for a long time, Game of Thrones. Everyone was talking about Game of Thrones. It wasn't until like the end of its reign that I started really tuning into it, and of course it was a great show, so everyone was actually right. And I'm hoping that this is going to be the same story for you. You're going to look back and say, yes, I didn't jump on board early enough, but you know what? I'm just glad I showed up to the barbecue and got my feet wet, because honestly, you're not alone, Alex. You're not the only one who isn't convinced yet. And I say yet because I feel like it's only a matter of time until everyone buys into what Ainge is doing, at least because the groundwork and the provisional steps have been there. Now, Adrian, I know there was a question you wanted to ask, so go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was going to ask Alex, like, about the team, parking Ainge to one side, and I'll come back on this afterwards, of what I've seen. I mean, I'm older than you guys. I'm 68. I watched the double side play, right? So I want to come back with what I've seen and explain something why I'm excited, right? But Alex, what do you think, barring injuries, how far do you think this team can progress?
Listen, I think we could get, at best, the way we started, maybe sixth. Yeah, and I listen. I'm not. I'll be happy with the top 10 this season. Okay. I'll be honest with you.
All right. Yeah? To add a bit more positivity than that, right? When I was 5, it was a question of like be a Spurs fan on the shoulders of relatives, or it was the orphanage, right? No choice in my family. You were either Spurs or you weren't, right? But so I was too young to appreciate everything that was going on then. Too young. Come the 70s, you know, I'm now 15. It's a bit different. We're winning trophies. Come the 80s, I'm older. We're winning trophies. You know, even though I experienced relegation with the team in the 76-77 season, we come up in 78 and we sign the Argentinians and Crooks and Archibald, and we have a fantastic winning sequence of trophies, right? Same when we go to the 90s and all that. And I've seen these cup runs, even in 91 when Gazza scored that wonderful goal in the semi-final that everyone talks about. And what those teams had, apart from having leaders, we were leaders then, captain, than they are today, was they had the ability to get across the line. What I've seen with this team is in the 4 or 5 games, and the press have said, oh, you've had an easy start. Really? We're playing teams away from home, right? Those teams that are supposed to be lesser teams in the Premier League, they do not stay in the Premier League on their away form. They stay in the Premier League on their home form. And there's no easy games. When people put up these lists, I'm like giving them a wanker sign, basically, because I think you're talking absolute shit, right? But what I've seen, and especially with me, when I've seen that success come, as it's built and come and the momentum's come, I see it against Sheffield United. And the clincher for me with this team was we got across the line. Like Perriman used to say, getting across the line. They got across the line and got them 2 goals in late in the game, Spurs. And that, I've seen that winning mentality in successful Spurs teams before. Now, I'm not saying we're going to go on and break history now, but that excited me, and I'm thinking like, we've been very lucky. The fact the young players we brought in that have clicked, and we needed it though. By God, we needed it. But I've seen it, and I'm excited. And what I've witnessed before we've gone on and won things, I've seen in this team. It's very early, but I've seen it, and I'm excited. I'm confident we will get Champions League. With this team, but we could. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we won the FA Cup. I had a bet on it for us to win it, but I mean, and I could even see us finishing third or even higher. Still fancy Man City to be the ultimate cup winners, league winners, etc. But I've seen this. I've seen this before. And I'm not deluding myself, and I've seen it, and I'm excited. I'm excited because that ability to get across the line and win things is what makes champions. Champions get across the line, and we did it against Sheffield United. And people might say they're a crap team. That's not the point. It's not the point. You have to win them games. And even Man City throughout the season, they will have them games. They had them last year. They still won the league. They still had to chase down Arsenal. Right, but they showed they can get across the line. They showed they were champions, and they are the best team in the world. But
I'll give him this, and this is the last thing I'm going to say because other people need to say something. You know what I mean? It's weird seeing Sean on the stream and he's not even saying nothing at the moment. You know what I mean? But the point is, right?
I don't know what you mean. Explain.
No, because you're very much always talkative, and you're always the best, always loud. I'm not having a go at you, mate, but
well,
you know what I mean.
Supposed to talk on streams, it is allowed,
Yeah. But yeah, I'll give him this. Yeah. That when we scored the second goal, right, and I do agree with you, Adrian, absolutely spot on. Yeah, it haven't been easy games. There haven't been easy games at all, right? It's just that it's just too soon at the moment. But Postecoglou's shown me that he's got some tactical nous a little bit. Because after that second goal, he got excited a little bit. Then he just went into game mode and said, "You know what? I've got to sort out that defense." You know what I mean? And then change that defense, and we got through that game. So this guy's got something about him. I will give him that. And one thing I will say, this is why I think we're going to get a draw out of Arsenal. I think he's got something over Arteta all day long, tactically, all day long. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Because Arteta's
I thought his substitutions were late, Alex. He said after the game, he realised there was that much amount of extra time. How do you know that? How do you know there's going to be that?
Yeah, but I think
the reason
of course there was. Of course there was going to be.
I always tell him that anyway. No, I think there was an inkling about it because I had the feeling that it was going to be.
The reason I
say
that
time
when
anyway.
He said afterwards he left them late about that time. The only reason I say that is because prior to half time, we got 3 minutes extra time. So how could he know? And it should have been a lot more than 3 minutes, right? So how could he
because
know
all that time wasting, and that's also
exactly.
I think that's why that assistant got yellow carded as well, because they were complaining at the ref with how much time wasting was going on. So there was some kind of Sean's got to go. Sean, I want to let Sean say bye.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Hey, you enjoy that Arsenal match, my friend.
Goose.
Cheers,
Good night. Yeah, take care, Sean. Everyone say bye to Sean. Go ahead, Adrian.
No, I just thought 3 minutes. Who thought that we shouldn't have had more than 3 minutes for the first half? I don't think any Spurs fan.
Yeah, I think even Ange said that he thought he was going to get more.
So I
was thinking at least 5 minutes.
He hasn't got much wrong. He got it totally wrong at Fulham. I know Jacob defended him, but I mean, over that. But okay, the 12 minutes second, totally in agreement with it.
I don't know about you guys.
I don't know if they had him on from the first half to the second half or whatever.
Yeah, I'm seeing this trend of not seeing enough minutes go into extra time after the first half, and then they carry it over to the second half instead of so. For instance, it should have been 5 minutes, but they gave us 3, and then the second half should have been 10 minutes. But they added 2 minutes onto that. I'm seeing a trend of where they're carrying over extra time into the second half rather than the first. I don't know if anyone else is seeing that.
And the other thing that got me as well, this whole thing with VAR, right? That tackle on Maddison. I mean, when we go back and look at the Brentford game, I mean, like, if that player got caught in Son's slipstream, they'd give the penalty for that weak penalty. And yet, that was a clear kick on the back of his calf, right? In the penalty area.
When you look at Son's, looking at him back to back.
What we are looking at.
It's absolutely insane. Mia, I know you got to go, so I'll put your link here for anyone who hasn't subscribed.
Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for having me, Jacob.
Yeah, have a good night. Good luck.
Good night. I'm going to bed. Got 6 hours. I've got to sleep, and I'm up again.
Yeah, good luck. That's why. Good luck.
Good night.
Brilliant. Night,
good night, Mia. Take care. Big up Cubed. Scott Munn, who's that? Took forever to get him in, so he might as well not be there. But Cubed, what I will say is, look at those eyebrows.
Come on,
arch.
Cube.
Come on, Cube. That is a hell of an arch. It's pretty impressive. And then he also just walks into the office and big dicked everybody. So I kind of respect it. Alex, I want to ask you, what do you think about all of this? Because honestly, I said off the top, I don't know if you were here yet or not, but I said off the top that, like, I don't know who's responsible for all these decision makings. I don't know necessarily what a 9 to 5 looks like for Scott Munn. I don't know what the 9 to 5 looks like for Gabbanini. I don't know who had the greater say in the likes of Mickey Van de Veen and the likes of bringing James Maddison in, Vicario, Alejo Veliz, Ashley Phillips, etc. For you, where do you sit with this news? Are you like me, like, I don't know who these people are or what they do technically, so I don't really know how this affects us? Or do you see this and have some kind of reaction to it, like some fans have?
Listen, at the end of the day, I had question marks on this whole thing in the first place for me. I just thought, for me, it looked good at the start. I have to say this, maybe, because the answer's coming through. I have question marks on giving big wages. I don't care. I do question that, because I think you give big wages to young players, it's a recipe for disaster, because these are young kids we're talking about here. So I understand competition, but, for a team that haven't won anything, I don't know whether that was a good idea or not. We are leading towards the young and going down the youth and the structure with Simon. Or was it? I can't remember the guy that's the youth director. From what I've heard, Prodigy had a big effect on that. The thing that I'm a bit confused about, I'm not really care if Prodigy goes anyway, because I think he should have gone a long time ago, to be honest with you. Especially what the bad press he's had. Yeah. Gabardini's looked very good as well, and the whole thing about the stats thing that we're trying to do as well. Yeah, that's looking good as well. But I don't know, with Scott Munn being employed and stuff, I don't know what the conversation would have been in July, you know what I mean, when he was supposed to start, you know what I mean? So that's where my confusion is at the moment. Why is it all happening now, when could they had that conversation a lot, beforehand? You see what I'm saying? If he was going to get rid of this guy a long time ago and have a plan already in place already, it just doesn't. I mean, if he has a plan of what he's going to do, that's fine. But it just, for me, it is a bit concerning. But I'm not surprised, because it's Tottenham Hotspur, and we always have. There's always something that goes wrong at Tottenham Hotspur behind the scenes, doesn't it? You know what I mean? That's why I say what I said about Postecoglou. He might have to be more of a leader and just try and just ignore the noise behind him and just try and take the lead on it. You know what I mean? And try and just say, you're not going to affect me, what's going on the pitch. You know what I mean? You just got to, what I need, you've got to do what I want, and that's it. You know what I mean? And that's
you can trust him to do that, because he's been asked that question, like, what's going on in the background, and he's like, well, I can only control what's in front of me, and that's the football pitch, and it's only the football that I can control, and so he is going to ignore that noise. The
problem is with him at the moment. Sorry to interrupt you. The only problem I have at the moment with it is that he does need support. And that triangle will be very, very important. You see what I'm saying? So that communication, and I mean, obviously now he's going to bring in a director of football. Now that director of football has to get on with Postecoglou.
And perhaps some Spurs fans are just thinking like, oh, it's today. Everything's happened today. He started. Who, in the right way of thinking, doesn't believe that these two Aussies, Ange and Scott Munn, haven't had loads of conversations prior to him starting the job? Who doesn't think that like Scott Munn hasn't dropped since he was going to get the job on gardening leave, wouldn't have been out there speaking or drawing up a list of people to interview for the DOF job if he hasn't got what he considers the best man for the job anyway. This is the angle I'm coming from. It's not happening. Scott Munn's been seen at so many Spurs games, as has Paratici, right, as well, right? So who thinks that, like, I mean, to me, when I'm reading between the lines on this, I see the fact with Gabbanini is the fact that, like, Gabbanini would have liked the DOF job. Scott Munn sort of saying to him, no, you're head scout. You can stay as head scout. You're not getting DOF, right? And Gabbanini's already had, we know him from last season that they have a lot of interest for Italian clubs that would like to take him on, either as head scout or maybe DOF, probably DOF. He's not getting at Tottenham, so he's gone, well, okay, I'm resigning. You can't sack him because he's only head scout. That would be constructive dismissal, and then we'd go through all the rigmarole where Levy's had to pay people off before. So I don't believe he's sacked. And that Matt Law story, I've always thought Matt Law's a prick anyway.
I was waiting how long until you mentioned Matt Law.
I know you're waiting for me to come back with that. So, I mean, it doesn't mean to say that what I'm thinking is right. All I want is people to just consider what I've said, to say, like, do you think I could be right, possibly right, or correct, you know? So Scott Munn's come in. He's got vast experience in what he does, but he's not got vast experience on European football. It's virtually negligent what he knows. But that's not his job. His job is to run the whole club, the whole football inside the Strug, from the academy upwards, all the women's teams, everything else, and to then employ the DOF who does that. But when we want a DOF that comes in, I understand Johnny's concerns about, we've had a good start, we don't want it wrecked by a DOF coming in that probably isn't the right fit and all that. I get all that, but it's Scott Munn's job to get a DOF in that comes in and knows European football, because we're in Europe and this is what this DF needs to know. And he needs to know, right, about players and those leagues. Now, we can have other scouts, and we've improved the scouting system in South America, Asia, whatever it is. That's fair enough. But Scotland will be judged. When this DOF comes in, I'm going to be researching them. I want to know what he knows about European football. You know, that's me.
Well, we'll see.
I don't know what you guys think. What do you guys think?
I'm approaching it with an open mind. I feel like I can't really have a too harsh of an opinion one way or another about a subject in which I'm not very well. I wouldn't attribute myself to being well educated in this matter, because I don't know what the fuck this guy. You could tell me he's the chief operating transitional officer of incomings and outgoings, and I'd be like, great. What the fuck does he do? Does he bring the coffee? Does he replace the trash bags? Or does he make phone calls to is he a scout? Is he talking to this guy? Like, I don't know how the pecking order goes. So I don't really have too strong of a opinion on it. Boxing Kangaroo, big up. Good luck at work. Hope you're well. Golden Hammer's in the house, giving us some love as always. Big up Golden Hammer. Says, Jacob, why have Spurs fans suddenly gone downbeat? You are still going to thrash Arsenal, right? I'll answer this one first. We are over 2 hours now, so we will be wrapping up the show very shortly and get these guys' final thoughts on the Ben, I don't know if we can talk about that on air. Want to stay monetized.
To shoot off in a minute, mate. Sorry, mate. I'm knackered, so.
Oh, hey, no, go ahead and hit us with your predictions real quick for Saturday. You already told us the score line, but how do you think it's going to go?
Do you know what? It'll be it's going to be a difficult one in the first half, I can tell. But in the second half, it'll open up big time, totally big time, to the point where it'll be literally just us running the show in the second half. And I trust Ange 110%. And I wasn't on the train at first. I wasn't dipping my feet in the pool or anything, but I am more than doing that now. So I trust Ange 110%.
Good shit. Like to hear it. Have a great night. Right. Thank you for popping up with Jacob. You have a great rest of your evening, good sir. I appreciate you popping up with Jacob tonight. I want to say, big up, sir. I want to say big up to everyone coming on over from that Never a Foul raid. I see Martin's in the house. I know he likes to ride the wave on over here, so appreciate that. Anyone tapping in, you can hit a like or you cannot. We're not going to go for too much longer, but the link is there in the chat. Well, that's a wrong link. The link to call in is in the chat. You want to let us know how you think this weekend's going to go down. This is the show to do so. This is the pop-up with Jacob, so big shout out to everyone who has locked in with me tonight. Zapur, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. There's the link. Anyone who wants to join, call in. You can come have your say about how you think this thing's going to go. Big up Sklarsh is in the house. That's a great name. Get them likes up. Red, White, and Red, a.k.a. New York... Foo York. I don't know what the FY stands for, but big up, boys. You better beat Arsenal. That's what I'm hoping for, good sir. I do hope we do that. Zapur, let me go ahead and start with you. This weekend's coming up. We've already talked about the starting front three that you think we're going to go with. Everyone was in agreement. Alex, I don't think you were on the show at this time, but everyone was in agreement as far as the front three go. But do you see the formation staying the same for Ainge Postecoglou as far as we've seen thus far? And then how confident are you with the result on this Sunday?
Well, if you're talking about me, I would say the same front three. Actually, no, I probably might put Johnson there, maybe. In front of Kulu, maybe. Then Son up front, and then Solomon on the left, I think. Pretty much the same team than that, I say. And I think we at least can get a draw. We will let in goals. We could either lose or get a draw. I think they'll find a way to get through us because they're way ahead of us in terms of quality, and they've got a quality squad. So, but I think we'll still go at them and play our football. Hopefully, that's what I expect anyway. So I think the best we can get out of them is a draw for me. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw, and that's it.
You bench the game winner, Kulu?
If we lose, I won't be bothered as long as we give a good account of ourselves. That's the main thing for me. Because it's just too early.
Well, I mean, if we go in there and we get a draw, I would say that's a very good account of ourselves. Personally, I feel confident enough going in there feeling like we're going to get 3 points out of it. I've said with my chest on multiple platforms that I know for a fact we're not going to go into the Emirates and walk away with a loss. Now, I know Rich, a YouTube chat member, was in the chat earlier saying that he was worried if we go down a goal in the 70th minute, and I don't think there's only going to be one goal scored by the 70th minute. I'm not saying I know how it's going to go by the time we reach the 70th minute, but the way that we play ball, I know for a fact there's not going to be just one goal, whether it's just us scoring, just them scoring, or a mixture of the two. I just have a feeling it's going to be an end-to-end affair where both teams really want to have the ball, bring their type of style to you, and try to get the most out of it. That's what I expect. So I think it's going to be a back and forth affair. I don't think it's at all going to be anything like we saw with Sheffield, where they were just letting us come at them and trying to break them down, and we were unable to do so until the very end. Zapur, I'm going to go to you here, and then Adrian, I want to know your thoughts. The same question I asked for Alex. Do you think we're going to see the same thing that we saw from Ainge Postecoglou as far as the lineup, and what's your expectations going into the weekend?
Well, if anyone changes the midfield or the defense is just insane. But yeah, as far as the starting forwards, Solomon, Son, and Kulu. If Ramsdale was in that, I'd say it's probably 4-1 us. But Raya's probably going to be starting, and I hold him in a high regard. I think it's going to be 2-0, and I think Raya is going to be busy. I think he's going to make a lot of great saves. I just think our defense is just on fire. I don't really see a true weakness, except for maybe Poro. But even he's getting better.
I think he's cleaned up a lot of those defensive inefficiencies. But this will be, at least, I think, a very true test, because as a Spurs fan with my Tottenham glasses on, I can sit here and say we've had a great season. We're going in here with all this steam, and I'm confident in it. But at the same time, let's look at the best wingers that we've played so far. Let's look at the best forwards that we've played thus far. And you could argue Arsenal's got the best group of lads that we've gone up to at this point. Adrian, we've talked a little bit earlier about why you were confident and why you feel confident going into this. But I want you to extend a little bit on that to all the people who did jump over from the Never a Foul raid. Why are you confident that Spurs are going to go into Emirates and get a result?
Well, because most games are won and lost in midfield. And I just think that, like, Maddison, Basuma and Sarr are better than, don't get me wrong, they've got a quality midfield. They've got Rice, Odegaard, I think, is fantastic. But then you're looking at who they're going to put there. Havertz, Vieira? No. I think we got the edge. We take the edge, we get that, right? Now, also, if the two midfields were to cancel themselves out, you're looking at where are the weaknesses in both teams? Well, like has been mentioned, Porro, they might want to target Porro, but we'd target who's a good player, or we'd target Zinchenko. Now, I like him. I'd have took Zinchenko from Man City, but he's got a mistake in him. But this is when you're being clinically tactical, on the tactical and analysis, like a schematic, and trying to work out where teams are weak and all that. But that doesn't work out necessarily. If you look at Arsenal's right-hand side, to me it's a strong side. They've got Saka, right? But we've got Udogie down there, and we've got Mickey van der Ven behind him. So we should push up and not worry about them trying to hit balls over the top of us and down the flanks, because we've got pace to get back and stop that. If we sit back and play a low block like Conte did in the past, you're inviting trouble. We have nothing, and our strength is the system we're playing. Ange won't sit back. That's why I reckon Porro will play, and I think it'll be the same team. Like I said earlier, the only other possible change I could see is Richarlison for Solomon. And I think everyone's made good cases for the substitutions of bringing Brennan Johnson on late. Don't think so. We're going to start with probably 7 debutants again in the North London derby. 7 of the players we're going to field. It's going to be the first time they've played in the North London derby, right?
I'm not concerned about that.
No, I'm not, because they've performed so well. And
their left side always gets substituted off. So we probably can make the same changes.
When you look at Arsenal, right? I don't give a shit about yesterday's result. That's nothing to me. PSV sold 2 of their best players, and one was defensive midfielder Sangaro at Forest, right?
And the other one was the reason why their attack was potent last year in the first place. Xavi Simons, he was the literal engine of their offense last season. So I agree with you.
And you look at, and I haven't followed Arsenal watch their games fully. I watched the Arsenal Man United game.
Sadly, I have. I've seen them all in their entirety.
And I didn't see the Fulham game. Looked at a couple of clips afterwards, and teams sit back and admire Arsenal. Don't get me wrong; they're a very good side. Right? But you can get at them. Even Man United, when they lost at the Emirates, and I watched that game in its entirety, for the first 15 minutes, Arsenal struggled to break them down. And Man United, they got quite a few. They had the pace of Rashford and the Dutch winger Anderson. It's Anderson. What's his name? Forget his name. And they relied on the pace on both sides. And they got at Arsenal, and they caused them problems. they got down amongst them. They didn't have so many shots on target and things like that. And Rashford got that goal, right? But against the run of play at that stage, because Arsenal had grown into the game. But you can get at these. You can get at them. They're not exceptional. And they're a light year behind Man City, but we all are, right? We're a light year behind Man City. But you can get at these. And Arsenal fans, my best mates and Arsenal fans going, oh, we're always worried that this is going to be the year that you're going to come in there and beat us. And I think Spurs fans, the majority of Spurs fans, there'll be those that be cagey.
Well, I've said, Adrian, on this platform numerous times that I feel like Ange Postecoglou is the guy to come in and really break all these myths, these curses, these things that people loom over Tottenham's head, like the trophies. I think he'll break that curse as well. I know the last one, 2008, a lot of people but that's what I'm saying. These myths,
Wenger was there, when Wenger was there and other teams were there and they had all them runs of beating us, like Chelsea used to call us like 6 points a season, there was a reason behind that. Our team was crap. Our team wasn't good enough. We didn't have enough quality, right? We might freak a result or a draw if we got lucky, We weren't good enough. But the year before last, when we played them at the stadium and beat them 3-0, we were good enough to beat them. And
real quick, I do want to say we have over 130 of y'all in the house. Big shout out again to Never a Foul for the raid. Appreciate y'all doubling up our numbers here. I want to say if you are new and you just tapped in, Kaz, Mo, Daps, they're not going to send you to a place that they wouldn't want you to come over here and smash on the like a little bit. So shout out to them boys for the raid. And if you are new, partake in the poll. Again, I should have changed it to a North London Derby type of prediction in the poll, but it was about Scott Munn. He did officially start his first day, and then we fired a couple people. So we were talking about that for all the rival fans out there who are like, what kind of poll is this? I do try to have some kind of poll to get y'all interacting at least a little bit here. Voting in the poll, hitting a like, those are 2 free ways you can support this channel here, and it does go a long way to helping folks such as myself. Never a foul. They always need them likes in the effort to fight the algorithm. The algorithm always wants to fight you. So I do want to say I appreciate the 5 of y'all who did hit that vote right now, and I appreciate the 2 new subscribers. I just refreshed and saw that 2 new folks subscribed. So welcome to United Spurs of America family for subscribing to the channel. Again, free. Absolutely free to do it. So there's really no excuse not to, unless you just don't want to support us, and that's fine. I'm an American. I believe in the free universe. So you have the freedom of choice to do whatever you so please. But I do also want to bring up this comment here from Red, White, and Red. That's quite the tongue twister for someone who I used to have a speech impediment as a child. So I had to really make sure to not mistake when I said red, white, and blue, like a Elmer Fudd or something. But it says Madison versus Rice, Basuma versus Odegaard, Udogie versus Saka. A lot of good matchups, man for man. I absolutely agree, and that's why I'm actually feeling very confident going into this. Not because just a man for man matchup. I'm gonna throw in another name into this. Ange Postecoglou versus Arteta, a guy who's been asking for you to trust the process for how many years? How many years do I need to trust the process, trust that my wife will be loyal? How many years must I wait? And for me, I like the fact that Ange has come in and said, you can trust me right off the bat, and I don't need to trust the process, just trust in Ange. And honestly, that's what I trust in. But I like this, a very good point. That you bring up as far as man-to-man matchups that are going to be really interesting to see, even from a neutral's perspective. I think this is going to be a very interesting matchup. Matt Spurs comes in here saying, I would play Johnson right wing to hold the Arsenal defenders back, stop Zinchenko from inverting into the midfield. Appreciate that, Matt. Spurs, Australian Gooner's in the house. Good morning, Australian Gooner. Says, Jesus will destroy you single-handedly. Pin this comment. I think that's hilarious because even though they were having a day at PSV, I thought that he could have been better on the day, personally. And then also said PSV tried to get at Arsenal. I hope Spurs do the same, please. And then in response to you real quick, Adrian, before you respond, he said, light years behind Man City, yet top of the league for most of the season.
Yeah, but then why do you fall behind then? If you were top, why did you bottle it? I mean, all right, Zinchenko will come in to invert, but so will Porro. So I'm not worried about Jesus. He's not exactly a prolific goal scorer, and hitting balls over the top. Well, we have tremendous pace at the back, and Romero and Van der Ven, and even Udogie has to come back and tuck in. So I mean, like, I'm not bothered about that. I'm not bothered about it. I'm not saying Arsenal won't have chances and we won't have chances. I just think like we're better equipped to win this derby than they are. I mean, like, I just think we've shown bite. We've shown that we can get across the line. That impressed me against Sheffield United, getting across the line, because that is a sign of teams progressing. It really is, and it's not just a positive sign, it's an extremely positive sign that you can do that in the last minutes of a game, because that is the difference between in cup finals and all that and winning and losing a trophy, and I just think like we're going to win this. I'm confident we're going to win this.
Australian Gooner says we fell behind because it's all about small margins, Adrian. No one remembers that like the Saka missed pen, etc. But it is the past. You know what I didn't forget is Bukayo Saka's goal against us last season, where our goalkeeper was playing volleyball. I didn't forget that. I'll tell you that much. But we have a new goalkeeper. We've got a whole revitalized back line, so I feel confident that we are going to look completely different than we did last season, and we're going to have something new, some kind of spark to us. Alex, let me come to you with the final subject of today before I send you on to the next lovely place in YouTube. Alex, give me your goal scorers. Give me your final score. I know it's a little bit early. I'm still going to do another show on Saturday where I still kind of talk about this stuff. But right now, if we play tomorrow, what are you thinking? Goal scorers, final score prediction?
It's difficult to give you goal scorers because everyone's scoring at the moment for Tottenham. So I'll say it's a 2-2 draw.
Okay. You think them goals are coming from the attack, midfield, or defense on set piece? Like Romero's been getting a lot of headers.
I couldn't tell you who scored because I think everyone's scoring, isn't it, at the moment? And unfortunately, with Perisic injured, which I think we're going to get a lot of injuries next couple of games, throughout the season, because the system takes a lot of energy from players and stuff. And I think whilst we were playing one game a week, injuries can be very innocuous, and we have to factor in internationals as well. So for me,
about this game though, Alex. About this game.
I'm talking about this game. But for me at the moment, I'm saying it's a 2-2 draw for me. I don't know who would score. Probably maybe Son. Maybe Johnson's got a chance. I don't know.
I love Rich's prediction here. He says Vicario with the 97th minute winner. That'd be crazy. Like the Lazio match I was watching in the Champions League, that goalkeeper came in the 94th minute. That was crazy. Alex.
Well, we know he can make the run.
He could get up there in a hurry. We saw it in the celebrations last week. Sorry, Alex. Go ahead and finish. I just want to throw this in there. That's a great prediction from Rich.
No, I just think I don't know who. I've got no really idea. I think maybe Son may score. Maybe I don't know.
I see Son scoring for chance,
sure. But I do think we'll get a draw out of them. At least get a draw out of them because we'll attack. But we'll let in goals. We'll let in goals.
I like it. Scott M's coming in here positive, says 4-2 with Son scoring all four. Honestly, would love to see that. It would be absolute limbs. I think that stadium would quickly become like a library.
I don't think Stones will score 4 goals.
I don't think so either. I think if he got 1 or 2, they would definitely change their tactics to stop that from happening. Again, you would think Arteta has the plans to do that. Honestly, I want to see the referee get after the managers early in regards to these lines are there for a reason. You need to stay in your technical area, Arteta. That's just me being petty, though. Anytime I watch him, he's always outside the box. Like he thinks it makes him like James Dean or something. All the ladies, oh, he's such a bad boy. Just get in your technical box, my guy.
I reckon he's a better tactical manager than Arteta, though. Postecoglou.
I agree too.
Tactical manager, I think
he's
that's
sexier
what he's
too.
Got
for
over
what it's
him.
worth.
But yeah. I think that's from just experience. I think at the moment, I just think he's got
Premier League agrees with you, my friend. The Premier League agrees with you as far as the last month goes.
Well, yeah, but let's not go over the top. Let's not go over the top about last month. Like, it's only the first month of the season, but I do think, because of its experience and especially what he did in the Sheffield United game, he has got a bit of tactical something about him, in-game tactical something about him. And I don't agree with the whole thing about the Fulham game. I've got to be honest. In the Carabao Cup, I still stick by what I say. I think I see what people are saying, but I think he done that for a reason.
Absolutely, I said it on my
channel already. So
I agree with what you said there on your channel.
I don't think he's gonna. I think he'll do the same thing next season as well. To be honest with you, if I'm really honest. So it is what it is. But yeah, on this game, 2-2. 2-2, yeah. Not
a ballerina, but we got the 2-2 this week, and I like it. I feel like that's more positive than maybe some people would have thought you would have predicted, given your opinions on Ange Postecoglou. So, Alex, I do always appreciate you being here. While I find the link for your show and promote it, I'm going to throw it to Zapur. Tell me what you're thinking. Same question as I asked to Alex. What is your score predictions, and who do you think is getting them goals and why?
So 2-0, we'll take the win. Gonna see another brilliant run by Son. Maybe a pass from Porro. And then I think Zinchenko's gonna get subbed off and Johnson's gonna come on and score.
Ooh, okay.
And
I mean, you damn near did the other day on his debut.
Yeah, it's very close. And if they do make it 2-1, then it's going to be another Van de Ven own goal, or Porro's going to...
Why you got to throw my man Van de Ven under the bus like that? I mean, he's only got one. Everyone says he has two. They gave the goal to Mbeumo. It's not... he only has one own goal. It's only one. I don't care what you say. Look at the stats. Go back and look whose goal scorers for Brentford were, and one of them's Mbeumo.
Well, look,
I stand by my man.
5 minutes. Paul's here.
I think he's a phenomenal defender.
Get him on.
He's a phenomenal defender, but I think he's a bit unlucky a few times.
Wow.
I think Van de Ven's a very good defender. I think Van de Ven's been very good.
Yeah,
he has made mistakes, but it's too soon.
He's 21 years old.
That's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying that he's been good. He's been very good, but at the same time, he needs time. He needs time at the moment. I just can't get overexcited about 4 games. I mean, I was on the stream and I was trying to put an argument for Bukayo in a combined 11 to be in goal for combined 11 against Arsenal, because I said that Raya and Ramsdale they can't make a choice which goalkeeper we're going to put in the goal. And to be honest, I was kind of clutching, to be honest with you, because let's be honest, he's only had 5 games for Bukayo. You know what I mean? And to be fair, Raya has been, and Ramsdale have had the whole season last season, haven't they? You know what I mean? So I have to be fair. Maybe we have to give it time, but he has looked good. He has looked good.
Bukayo's a better goalkeeper than Ramsdale or Raya.
That
free kick against Barcelona under the bar from Alonso, right?
But he's saying that though, Adrian. I see where you're coming from.
With his legs, right? Against Man United at home, he saved that header, which was going straight in the goal and flicked that over the bar, right? He's shown enough quality. His distribution is great. His kicking's good, and he's got an accurate throw at him. The keeper, I'm agreeing with Buffon there in Italy, right? Buffon now saying that he was Italy's second best goalkeeper. He's going to be Italy's.
I choose the opinions that align with GOATs, and I like it because I align with Romero, or excuse me, I align with Messi in regards to this young man, in regards to this young man, that young man.
Yeah, but Jacob, I'm sorry, I have to be honest. This is where we have to be careful, right? He's only had 5 games. Yeah. When he's consistently doing it, but the fact is, and I was clutching with this whole thing because the fact is Arsenal haven't made a choice of what goalkeeper they want to put in goal, but I had to put Raya in goal because at the end of the day, he has played well for Brentford, and he hasn't looked too bad for Arsenal, even though they were quite simple games. Let's be honest here, you know what I mean? So. But to be fair, like he has looked good, Vicario. Yes, he has. A shot he needs time.
I'll admit he looked shaky in the Brentford game because he's got a back four in front of him he doesn't know. After that, I've been more impressed than each time I've seen him.
Yeah,
he's been a lot or not. This is a position where he's in the box, he's shouting at his defenders and all that. Like he is quality.
Yeah, we're not arguing he's got something about him, Adrian. But the point is, he needs time. We need to see time. It has to be consistency.
I appreciate where Alex's stance is, because when you look at it from a bird's eye view, from a neutral standpoint, again, taking off my Tottenham glasses, you're right. It has been 5 Premier League matches. This weekend will be 6. Liverpool will be 7. Once we get into the 10 to 15, I think we can say this guy on average does at least 10, because for me, that's at least a friendly number, mathematically speaking, because you can say he's been good and say 90% of those matches evenly, or 80% or 7, whatever it may end up shaking to be. But at this current time, he is 5 of 5 in the Premier League, in my opinion. Vicario specifically.
The Man United game, he made that early save down with his legs.
He's had some really great saves that kept us in matches.
Yeah, I mean, this is not luck, right? When you do that so many times, then good saves are not luck, right?
Yeah, but we're not arguing about that. We're saying that he's got something.
I know you want
him.
more. Listen. Understand? You want more time. Yeah. I've seen goalkeepers.
I was arguing.
I'm already convinced. I'm convinced this kid is.
I was arguing, Adrian, for this guy over Ramsdale and Raya in the combined 11, right? Because I said that you know what, you haven't made the choice on your goalkeepers, and I've got to be honest, Vicario's been consistent in goal for the last 5 games. Yeah, so you judge it on the last 5 games. Yeah, I'll put him in goal all day long. But then if I'm saying, this is where now I'm starting to talk about logic, and I'm not always logical, because not every time you need to be logical about these things. You know what I mean? It's just what you feel sometimes, or what you feel is the logical thing for me. But for me, if I'm going to say that Van der Ven needs time, I'm going to have to give Vicario time on this. You know what I mean?
I agree with you there.
Also, I don't want to put too much pressure on the boy as well, because he's a young boy, and for me, he needs to give him time to grow. I think that's really, really important. We overhype people too early.
Alex, I agree with what
you
said.
We need to give him time to grow.
I agree with what you said about Van der Ven. He had a bit of a test against McBurney, but in his favour, what I was saying Van der Ven's favour and what helps him, he's not going to face teams that keep hitting long balls forward like that, like Sheffield United do. So he's not going to have that sort of head. We were told before it come that, like, oh, he's a bit weak in here. Really? Not what I've seen. He did have a bit of a tough test against McBurney, but he come through it well. We won the game, right? He was challenged, right? But like, I thought, this kid, and I wanted to see him with someone like, because he is tall and rangy. He's not like solid meat and broad and solid, but tall and rangy. But I thought, I wanted to see him like this, and I thought, yeah, you've done okay. I mean, like, you did well, you know. But he said, like, oh, McBurney bullied him and all that. Well, we won the game. He may have bullied him, but we won the game.
I don't think he necessarily got bullied, and that's coming from a place. I've watched goalkeepers with an extra little caveat. Like, if that's a position I played my 15 years that I played was goalkeeper. So I always view things from a goalkeeper's perspective, and there's really not a lot wrong I've seen him do. I can't even think of an instance in where I was like, damn it, Vicario, you shouldn't have done that. It was always been like, oh, wow, that was nice. Oh, wow, that was nice. And the goals that we've conceded have been at the fault of our back line, have been us getting caught out of position. And then, you know, those things are going to happen when you play this style of ball, in my opinion.
Their goal, Sheffield, the long throw at the box, got knocked down, just fell to one of their players, and it's come off the post at the most acutest angle it could come off the post. The guy's hit it, right? He didn't place it. He's not an out-and-out striker, right? Harmer, whatever you call him, right? And I thought, couldn't fault him on it, you know.
I'm not blaming him for that. I wouldn't blame him for that. And also, I have to say this: I think you were there, Adrian, as well. I think they were always going to score anyway. I think it was the best scenario that they scored anyway, because that just shown us.
Didn't it? After 70 minutes, we weren't getting a goal and all that. We had chances.
Yeah.
You just thought.
But you knew we were going to. You had a feeling there.
Way through, I thought that was a cert goal. The keeper did well and saved it, didn't he?
Yeah. But you knew they were going to score, though. You weren't worried that we're going to score. We weren't going to score, though. That's the thing. You knew that if we didn't score, it was going to be very, very unlucky. And the thing is, though, now you've got that feeling now. Regardless what I feel about Ange and the process at the moment, I am relaxed when I'm at the stadium now. Yeah, I'm more relaxed now than ever. You know what I mean? I'm more liking what I'm seeing now. I'm not like sitting there. Oh, this is so boring. Oh, this is. I'm actually now, you know what? I like this right now. I'm getting.
When we equalised as well, you didn't have the sense of years ago. I'll settle for it, tighten up, take the draw on it. You could, before the second goal come, there wasn't much time, but you could smell we were going for it. We were going to win it. Well, I didn't sense any negativity amongst the crowd, even at 1-1 and all that. It's as if we knew we were going to. It's weird. Sometimes you just know you're going to get it, and we just knew. Because I said to God, we're going to win this. I said to him, even at 1-0 down, even at 1-0, I smelt we were going to win this. I said to the guy next to me, I said, we got time to win this, right? And
I was at my supporters club, and I had full faith we were going to at least equalize. And then when we did equalize, I'm like, we're going to win this.
I think everyone felt that way too, Zipporah.
Yeah, and that's the difference. Belief. Now, if we're under Conte or Mourinho, would we have the belief we're going to win that game?
No.
I think it would have been one man that would have got us through. That would have been Harry Kane or Bentancur. That's it. But at the moment, you see the team. And the thing that was impressive is that we kept going. Because it was from a Udogie interception. And then Udogie passed the ball to Kulu, to Richarlison. Richarlison puts a good pass into
Udogie won the ball, didn't he? Gave it to Højbjerg.
Højbjerg, yeah. I don't know the whole incident, but you get what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean?
You give it to Richarlison, who dinked it, and fair play to Richarlison. I know he's got the goal.
Yeah.
But this is the point. This is what I'm talking about when I look for vision in players, right? All right, people say it was an easy pass. Right? You still got to make it. And then fair play to Kudus, who's had a bit of stick, 2 goals and assist, right? Who takes it, one touch, right foot, slotted it in there. You know what I mean?
It was a fantastic goal. It was an absolutely fantastic goal. It was a very good goal. And like I said, it shows you the mentality that we're showing at the moment. But again, it has to be consistent. And this is where against Arsenal and Liverpool, regardless what the results are, I don't care if we lose. If we lose the 2 games and we're showing what we can do and showing what we've been doing the last how many weeks, that's progress. That is progress. You know what I mean? Because it shows that we are learning. We got
15 games till January to get a couple of players in. The only thing that's going to derail our season, we'll get Champions League. If we're fit, we've got Champions League. Take it from me, we've got it. It's nailed on, right? Because it's 5th this year. The only thing that will stop us is if we get key injuries to say like Van der Ven, Romero, Udogie, then suddenly your season can turn upside down very quickly because we need a quality, and I hate the term, guys. I hate the term backup. We're Tottenham Hotspur, sort of like one of the 10th richest clubs in the world.
I know, Adrian, but you have to accept the backup is a legitimate thing in this day and age. Manchester City have a bunch of backups who would walk in as a start. I understand the sentiment, but
no. My sentiment is based on the fact you want a quality left back to come in, right? Who knows? he might get a tune out of Sessegnon when he comes back. Who knows?
No, don't. We're going to be here for another 2 hours if I start talking about Sessegnon.
Right, yeah. But like, you know, you get through to January. We need, I want a left-footed centre-back. We may get a quality right. If we got a Bramer in, he was right-footed. Don't get me wrong, I'll take him like a pinch of salt, right? But, I mean, like, we want a left foot. But the point in January is, like, clubs, if they're in a chance of winning trophies, European places, you know, or whatever, they're not going to sell you their players halfway through their season in Europe. No one is, especially good quality players, unless you're going to offer them top money and they're in some sort of soft, stable position in the league and they think they're fine. You're not going to get them players. We got lucky with Bentancur and Kulusevski. We got very lucky getting them in January. You know what I mean?
Well, I agree with you there, but I do got to wrap up the show. I'm getting a text. My son's awake.
Can I just say the last thing? Right?
Yeah.
I will say this, right, is that I'm not that bothered if we get Champions League. Even if we do get Champions League, I ain't celebrating it. 'Cause fifth is a joke. Getting Champions League, it's a joke. This Champions League now, I don't even look at it as Champions League. Right? As far as I'm concerned, if we keep the progress of what we're doing in terms of playing good football and keeping to the strategy that we're doing at the end of the day, at least we're going down the right path, and that's it, right?
I like that.
And that's at least what we should be doing. And keeping our manager for this season is an achievement this season, as far as I'm concerned as well. And that's it. And that's me signing out. And that's it. Back to you.
Well, I think Spurs and Liverpool will battle for third this year. We'll battle for third.
We shall see how this all shakes out. What I will say is tomorrow, the show, if it happens at all, will be extremely early. Personal life, I won't be able to do the regular time. So it'll be like really early for me if I do one at all. If not, then on Saturday is when I'm looking at trying to do the major North London Derby prediction, picking our squads. I want to do a revised best 11 of the two. I feel like that could be some interesting conversation. And I also want to say big thank you to everyone who has hit that like on the video.
Comment by Twain55 here in the chat. Very good comment.
Where is it? Let me see. Did I miss it? Twan55 says, Paratici got us Udogi, Sar, Kulu, Bentancur, Romero, Van de Veen, Vicario, Solomon, Basuma, and Madison. Sorry, I missed the part where he shouldn't be our de facto director of football. The guy is a genius. Fair enough.
Not sure about Van de Veen in there. That was what Ange wanted, Van de Veen. But,
well, that's because Ange listens to me. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Someone also says hit the likes. Appreciate that. But big up everybody who has tapped in.
Consultant, right? So
say that again.
He is a paid consultant, right? So
yeah, I mean, he's getting paid. I think from a jail cell, they figure out ways of smuggling cell phones anyway, so he'll be all right. But big up everybody who has tapped in, everyone who stayed on over from the Never Foul raid. I am going to end the poll. There's 103 votes. So Shirley, but don't call me Shirley. We could get the likes up to 100 on this video at some point. Big shout out to everyone who watches this back on playback. I appreciate y'all very much. And again, have something tomorrow, if not for sure on Saturday. So hope to see y'all here. And also the watch along on Sunday for the match. Should be a lot of fun. I don't know how I might be acting out of pocket. I don't know, but hopefully not with any egg on my face is the only hope I can have. But after this, stay put. I will be sending you on over to Sarcasm City TV. The Great Flawless is over there. So I'm going to be repaying the love that Never a Foul showed. And I'll be sending y'all to a very great place. Go over there and say USA Raid or just say hello. Great channel. A lot of people that I send over there said, wow, I really like this channel that you send me to. So go check them out. Go show them some love. Great channel over there. But again, more predictions, more shows coming up in the next couple days. And we'll see you here locked in. Hopefully we'll see you here. Adrian, let me get your prediction.
3-1, 2 from Son, 1 from Kula. And Zappa,
nice.
Good to see you on the show, Jacob.
Yeah.
Get him back on.
Yeah. Good to see him on. Indeed, I definitely enjoyed meeting you for the first time, officially seeing your face, Zapor. Yeah. So big ups for the call-in. First time on. Glad you made it. And Alex, Big up. Thank you for calling in. Always a great time when you pop up with Jacob. So I want to say big up to everybody who did lock in with us tonight. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. And again, go say hello to Flawless. Go show him some love. He's on the road to 10K. Go give him some love. But until next time, big ups. And thank you for tuning in to Pop Up with Jacob. Stay fresh, stay blessed. Up the lads, and come on, you Spurs.
Come on,
you
Spurs.
Spurs.
Quiz.